Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Rusty from the Stunthangar Control Line forums, and I have posted the link, but for some reason I got an error in the Stunthangar forum post, and the um, video link didn't show up. However, the link to come into the live broadcast is there. I'm going to go back in the first few seconds here, so bear with me while I try to refresh that video link so that the chat box and the YouTube watch page is visible. And anyway, we got 3 people watching us right now, and I'll keep trying to refresh that page. I might have to modify it and repost it, but yeah, I think we can do without that. If anybody needs it, I'll get it in the next few minutes, but I'm not going to stumble around right now and try to get it. But anyway, we got the chat box up. JP's on. Hey, JP. Well, um, it is Monday, March the 4th, and spring's obviously here because we had warm weather this weekend, warm enough to get out in the shop and do some work, and then thunderstorms, of course, came to my area last night, and we had a pretty pretty rough time of it. Luckily, I was not in the area where the tornadoes were worst. I was about a mile away from it, so that's comforting. Fort Jackson and that area, which is just a little bit north of me, um, got ripped up pretty good, and I think some of Lexington County, where I have a lot of friends, got ripped up pretty good. And we're okay though. Nothing's wrong with the house. Nothing's wrong with the trees. The roof is still over my head, and we're looking pretty good. So the biggest problem I got right now is I cannot seem to get the YouTube part of this broadcast working. So how about JP? You're over there where you can see the tube on your end. Tell me if you're able to see me. If you're able to see me talking, is it just on my computer? And Gerald too. Gerald's there. Is YouTube working for you guys? If it is, I'm not gonna screw with it around here. Neither the YouTube feed or the stunt hanger link to the video page is working. I don't know what the problem is. 100%. Okay, good. So that means the link to my live video must be working too. Um, I am not going to do anything that might get me kicked off by accident. Let me try. We'll try refreshing the page and see what happens. But we're looking okay right now. If I lose you guys, then I'll have to restart it. But okay, we're looking okay right now. Now I can see myself. All right, we're back in action. Um, and Gary Sinclair's there. Great. Okay, I went ahead and did what I was talking about the other night, and I posted a link on the open forums that explained about how to get into the live chat with us. And hopefully, we're going to attract some new people that have forgotten about it or never thought to come visit us. As what happens when I start writing, sometimes I get a little prosaic. Oh, we got a visitor here. Let me let Dave in. Hey, Dave. Oh, you got to turn your microphone on. Um, as I was saying, I got a little wordy when I was writing my explanation um, about joining the video chat, and it might have gotten to the point where my post was a little off-putting. I went to the open, it's posted in the open forum. I went and reread it today and edited it. Let me see if I can turn Dave Ziegler's microphone on. It looks like it came on. Okay, Dave, we got you. Say something and let me see if I can hear you.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Yeah, that works. It sounds like you got a fan or some kind of tool running in the
Yeah,
background.
I'm in my shop's near the furnace, so I'll just unmute.
Okay, Dave. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm mute my mic because I'm at the furnace.
Okay. I got to turn your volume up. You're pretty low. You might just be too far away from the microphone right now, but we got a good video. We got Jack Snavely and Gary Sinclair over there, along with Gerald Wimmer and JP. All right, and we got Dave Sigler. Is this your first visit to us, Dave?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I got a pretty choppy signal with you, but we can work with that. I was just trying to do my introduction. I had a little bit of a glitch tonight, and couldn't get the video on the YouTube side to work, and the video in the Stunthangar post didn't work. But if you're here, then the link to the link to the chat must be working. So I'm going to leave it all alone now. And we got people talking over on YouTube. So what you working on in your shop there, Dave?
Just I fly combat, and I'm setting up some Norvels to fly speed F8. I'm trying to find out a way to put a hot spray bar into a Norvel motor. So, but because the Norvels have the needles are pretty coarse.
Yeah, they are. I usually yeah, have you been listening to us talk about putting fine thread needles on those?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. This is out of a that's a one out of a Cox, but the diameter's a lot smaller, so I gotta turn down make a spacer or something so it'll work.
What are you talking about? Sleeving the spray bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually use I forget the size now, 5/32 or something like that, 3/32. I forget exactly, but it slips. A piece of brass will slip right over it, and then that's the same size as the hole that went through the Venturi, the original Venturi, and it slips right through that, and you can glue it in place with JB weld.
Okay.
And yeah, and just bore a hole through the brass sleeve so that the spray bar's hole can shoot through that, and put a little dot of Vaseline in it or something so you don't get glue in. I tried soldering it on, but made a mess and ended up cleaning it up and just JB welding it, and it worked fine. It works great like that. And you can opt to use the Venturi or just leave the Venturi off and leave it wide open like the I like to have the screen on it. I know it robs a little bit of power, but when I put it in the dirt, I like to have the screen there to keep from making a mess inside the engine.
I got these and I really like them, but I've only got two of them and they're prohibitively expensive now. So
Is that an 061 or is that an 049?
it is an 051. The Pico.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay. I've never actually seen one of those in real life.
Yep.
Is that one of the one? Is that a Larry Driscoll engine?
No, Galbraith.
Ah, okay. That's right. I remember reading I guess maybe Larry made the needles for those engines at one time. I'm not sure. My only.
This is great. It's wonderful. It's the best needle I've ever had. On even the big ones, it's incredibly sensitive.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my only Larry needle is bent now, so it's no good.
The needle's about $20. It's like that's not gonna fly.
Let's see. We got another visitor coming in here. We've got Pat. Hey, Pat. How you doing? Oh, can you turn your mic on?
Yes,
Okay, now we got you. How you doing tonight?
just fine.
Good. I got off to a little rocky start. I had some malfunctions with my links on the forum. They wouldn't post the video page, and finally got it. I think we're all here now, and
Yeah.
so we got you, and we've got Dave, and so you're our first two visitors now. We've got a bunch of people piling up over in the YouTube side. So welcome. How are you tonight?
Oh, pretty good. Just trying to get this camera and everything lined up.
Yeah, I see you're in your workshop. What kind of projects you got going?
Just the typical stuff that I do. Several Aries I got going, some old Noblers I got going. I do a lot of engine work and stuff like that.
Well, speaking of engine work, we had Rich Oliver in here for the first time the other night. So it was a good coincidence because we had another one of my buddies that I know personally who's a real knowledgeable engine guy, and so Rich was able to come in and actually have somebody that he could talk intelligently to about engines. So we enjoyed having him in here with us.
Yeah.
I've never met him.
I'm from Wichita, Kansas. I kind of was trained by Lou Woolard and Marvin Denny. Both have passed on now.
I know. In fact, I spoke to Marvin on the phone when I was just a beginner learning to fly the pattern with an old Goldberg shoestring, which was almost as twitchy as a half A plane. And I was flying loops the size of beach balls. And one night my phone rang and I answered it. And all I knew it was some old guy telling me how to fly loops, how to fly through it, add input to get it to go up over the top and let off. And I was at the time I was just doing what I call yanking hope, and he on the phone taught me how to fly a loop, and I never realized who it was until after he passed away. I was going through my phone contacts and saw Marvin Denny scroll by, and that's who that was. And so
yeah,
I was honored to have been taught something by him. I know my buddy Ryan Cribbs. I think he knew Marvin, and I think he knows some of the Wichita people. We've got he calls himself Gus the IA on Cox Engine Forum, but his name is Doug.
Burright.
That's right. Yeah, Doug. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a buddy of mine. We do a lot of modeling together and flying together much as we can.
Yeah, he's been one of our regulars for the past few weeks, so enjoy having him in here.
Right. Now we're trying to get me and him, I think we're trying to get to the Nats this year and look around and see what's the new stuff going. I just got back into flying about 4 years ago, 4 years ago. And, lifestyles changed. So I thought, well, it's an opportunity for me to get back in it. And then a lot of my buddies were gone, moved on or passed away or whatever. But we've had a pretty good time.
I'm kind of a retread myself. I flew since the time I was 12 all my life, and never had anybody to fly with. There was nobody in my neighborhood that flew, and they'd come out and throw rocks at the plane while I threw, and we had big fun doing that. But then life came along. The story. College and wife and kids, and finally got back into it when my kid was old enough to try having fun with, and got him out to fly a little bit. And back in about 2009, 2010, I decided I needed a new plane, so bought a jumping bean and tried to learn to fly loops, and kind of progressed from there ever since then, and found out about I had to join a club because the trees had encroached on my flying area across the street at the church, and that's where I met people that had bigger, better planes and flew competitive aerobatics, and I got into that and loved it. So I hadn't looked back since then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, control line's pretty fun. I've enjoyed it since I was a little kid. Just getting back into it, it's amazing how much after a 20-year layoff, it's amazing how much that you don't remember.
Or how much you never knew until you found computer forums too. That's made a huge difference.
Yeah. I'd be out there flying, in the middle 90s. That's when the witch hawks here were going strong. And if you had any problems with an engine or a tank position or an airplane, all those guys were right there to tell you exactly what was wrong.
And there were hobby shops to go buy parts and that sort of thing too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Our last hobby shop anywhere near me is closing up this month, and that was in Rock Hill, South Carolina, about an hour from where I live. But it was a full-blown big hobby shop that just was wall-to-wall airplane stuff. I mean, he had planes, trains, and buggies too, but he knew what everything in that shop was, had opinions on how he liked to use each particular brand or whatever, and it was a hobby shop that could actually help with building and knew what we did when we went out in the shop. And we got Eddie Suter joining us. Let me let Eddie in. He's a Tennessee guy, one of the Nashville crowd. Hey, Eddie, how are you? Can you hear me, Eddie? Oh, there you go. You got your mic now.
What's up?
Not much. Just kind of getting in the groove. We got a few people here. We got Dave, we got Pat, we got you and me, and we got about 9 people over on YouTube watching us too. And so looks like we're developing a decent Monday night show. I'm hoping we can get some new folks in. I posted that thread in the open forum on Stunthangar, kind of explaining how to get in, and I think I overdid it, and to the point where it might be off-putting. Did anybody read the post I wrote about joining up the live chat?
I didn't.
Well, I don't know if it's got about 70 views, but nobody has responded to it. I just let Chris Hornaday in. Let me see if I can speak to him. He was here a minute ago and then fell out. Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm having problems. I'm trying to work on my volume. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Looks like we got you now. I got audio and video this time.
Okay, now we're tracking. All right, what's up, guys?
Oh, we're just getting in the groove. So
cool. I got some newbie questions whenever y'all get going.
Let's do it. Hang on. Let me check my phone just a second, and I'm going to mute. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back now. That was my son. Anyway, so Chris, you said you had a newbie question to ask.
Yeah.
What you got?
So I started a new project last night. I was actually intending, I'm moving here soon, so I was actually intending on just building a kit and having it ready to go for when I move, so I'll have something to fiddle with. but I ended up just about building most of it. I'm building one of those Voodoos, one of those little combats, and I'm gonna put a Fox 35 on it again. I just got a crap ton of those sitting around. But can you run a Fox 35 off of one of those bladders like they use now in Control and Combat?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Mostly here are the guys running bladders on the Fox 36X or the high performance engine. The only thing about a 35 is that most people don't like to run them screaming wide open, which is the way you run an engine on a bladder. And use plenty of caster if you're going to run it fast like that, because you can't throttle back a bladder fed engine, because the bladder always pushes the same
Correct.
amount of fuel in whether the engine's using it or not, and so it'll soak it and put the fire out.
Okay, well, I got a 36X, so would that be the better one to use on that then?
That would be the ideal motor to fly that plane like it's meant to be flown. If you're up to the job, it'll really go.
Yeah, so 36X, that's the vented intake, right? Or the slanted intake port there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
got one
it.
of those.
They make a ball bearing and a needle bearing. I've got a needle bearing version on my Super Satan, which looks sort of like a Voodoo. It's a little bit heavier plane, but it flies. I think we clocked it at 118 miles an hour back in October with just plain old stunt fuel in it.
And what are we looking at for lines on that? Like just
60
some
feet.
15s?
60 feet of 50, I can't, yeah, 60 feet of 0.015s, 0.015.
Okay, cool. How many
I
ounces?
think you're probably,
is that batter? Is that
if I can throw in my 2 cents, you're probably better off finding old Super Tiger, like a 35 Super Tiger. That those were made for combat.
It might be easier to handle unless you're used to flying a plane as fast as that 36X is going to fly.
No, I mean, as I say, I've been flying my Twister some and everything, and my Flying Clown. So this is kind of the step up for me to get something a little faster.
Yeah.
Mike, just come on. He can answer that question.
Yeah, Mike's here. He's our fast combat expert. But Chris is talking about, he just built a Voodoo and he's looking for an engine to put on it. Wanted to know first if he could feed a Fox 35 with a bladder.
No.
I told him with enough caster, he probably wouldn't kill it, but that the 36X was probably a better engine for it.
Yeah, a slant head 36X or a Super Tiger G21 35. That would be appropriate for a Voodoo.
G21 35, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Fox 35 was not designed to run that hard.
No, it wasn't. You'll tear it up running it on a bladder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've ran them on bladders for years. If you do you gotta switch needle out to something better than that, but they'll run on a bladder. The Chicago guys used to have Fox 35 Stunt Combat for years, and they ran them all the time that way.
Yeah, you can run them that way, but they're not meant to be run that hard. That's what I'm getting at.
Sure.
Fox 35 is not meant. It's not meant to be a combat motor.
Get an OS 25, put a remote needle valve on it, and you'll have the most. That's the easiest way to do it.
You put an OS 25 on it, it's going to be pretty tail heavy, especially if you've got the long boom version.
Okay. Sure. No, not a ball bearing one. They weigh the same.
Hey, Dave, have you got the ability to turn your microphone up a little bit? I've got you up as high as I can go, and
probably not. I got to get a different mic.
Okay.
Hey, Rusty, what's going on with the YouTube feed tonight?
I don't know. It would not come up with anything but black at first, and it was nothing but a bunch of text over on the forum post. But I got it to show up. Let's see if it still is. Yeah, I finally fixed it over on the YouTube page, but on Stunthangar, it's still just a wall of text.
Okay.
But the link to come in here works. And I was trying to fix it and talk at the same time. Now that there's enough people here, where I can maybe get away and see if I can fix it.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
What's up?
What's going on, Eddie?
Not much. Hey, on these bladder deals, when you fill one up, do you have to clamp that line off before you start it? I mean, if it's just, I was gonna say, because it's just gonna push all the fuel right back out, right?
Yeah, you
Right.
start it on the prime first and then unclip it before the prime runs out.
There's
Yeah.
a couple of different ways you can do it. You can use a pair of hemostats. So after you get the bladder
Right.
full, you clamp it off with some hemostats. I use IV tubing clamps. There's surgical clamps from IV tubing. There's slide clamps.
Right.
I've got a nurse who's a friend of mine, and she sends me a couple hundred every year. That
That
way
way you just keep it on the line.
keep it right on the fuel line. Yep. Another thing you can do is modify a clothespin. You can take a clothespin and just put some 1/8-inch balsa rounds on the pincher part, and then bevel them to a point so they're kind of sharp. I'd say sharp for flying, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Wrap extra rubber bands around the clothespin so that it pinches tight, and you can use a clothespin as a pincher as well. And then typically what you want to do is have whatever you're using to pinch the line with your finger, and then take that off with the battery connected. You're ready. So connect the battery, take your pincher off, hold the fuel line, pinch with your fingers, start the engine, and then let go. You always want to do it.
I figured that's what you had to do, but I wasn't sure. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't.
you
I
want to
don't
do
move
a bleed test. You want to do a bleed test before. So take the clamp off, turn the airplane upside down with the venturi down, and see how much fuel is coming out of it, and then open and close the needle to get the right flow. So if it's a solid stream, that's way too much. If it's just going drip, 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 that's not enough. Typically, a nice steady drip, like drip, 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 drip. That's
Sound like a fast IV, huh?
That's a good starting point for it. You don't want it just pouring out of there, because then it'll be rich. And if you get it too lean when you're starting one on a bladder, if it's too lean, it's going to surge on you, and that's dangerous, because then the airplane is going wing, wing, wing. So you got to find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
But,
Not that I'm gonna fly any combat or nothing. I was just curious on how it operated.
mm-hmm. Who is that over there? Chris.
Yeah, what's up?
Chris, you could, if you wanted to put a modern good engine on there that would be not overpowering and not too heavy, an OSLA 40 can go on a Voodoo. I built a couple that way too, just because I had 40s laying around, and that can be set up very easily to run on a bladder. And it's a little less picky on fuel, especially if you're running a Fox 36 or the Tiger. You got to run fuel with a bunch of caster in it, because they're iron piston and liners in there, and the OS will run even on RC fuel with a little bit of caster added. And then the weight of the 40 is about the same as a 36X or a G21 35, and you can buy them dirt cheap at swap meets and on eBay and stuff like that. I run LA 40s on all of my speed limit combat on the big foamies and stuff, but they'll work fine on a Voodoo, and they run good on a bladder as well. They run really good on a bladder.
Okay.
I think Doug has got several of those ST35s. I think he's on this on Stunthangar quite a bit. Maybe get a hold of him. He's got several of them.
Yeah, I mean, if you want it to be period correct, then you want the 36X or the G21, But if you want ease of use and to be able to use more commercially available fuels, you can put an LA40 on it, you know. I mean, you can put an FP40 on it or an OS35, you know, from when OS made the 35. That's a good motor that can run on a bladder. I mean, you can run just about anything on a bladder with the right needle. The thing is, will it stand up to the RPMs and the torture you're putting it through? That's why I would never suggest just taking your standard Fox 35 and doing it that way. Because I mean, guys did it, but there's a reason they went, you know, that Duke Fox made the 36X and the other combat motors, because the 35s were coming apart, you know. So they made purpose-built better motors for higher RPMs.
I got a
There's
36X. And
there's no way to run on a bladder except for wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah,
the
I
other
got-
thing too is you're propping them down too. You're running typically a smaller diameter prop than what you would run in a stunt configuration or even RC. So like on a 40, you know, you're probably running 11 4s, 11 5s on your 40 in a stunt configuration. I run 9 5s and 9 6s on my 40s. You know, 2 inches shorter and a lot higher pitch, but they're spinning more RPMs and giving you more power. So I don't think. Go ahead.
You fly RC too, so I'm gonna ask you this question. What's your take on using RC engines with the throttle wired open?
There's no reason to do it.
You can't find the control line engines anywhere except at swap meets and eBay, but
Yeah,
you can find RC engines, you know.
and just about
use
every.
wire.
I understand what you're saying, and I'm going to tell you, just about every RC engine that you would consider using for control line, you can call Jim Lee at Lee Machine Shop, and he'll sell you a Venturi and a needle for whatever engine it is. I mean, they're out there. You just got to go to the right guys. I mean, yeah, you can't take a Tower 46 and just buy parts on eBay for it. But I guarantee you, Jim Lee could convert one for you, because he's done it for tons and tons of engines, and most of that stuff he has cataloged. And he, you know, if he's made them, once Jim makes something for an engine, he keeps a record of it, of what size Venturi he made, and you know what the case diameter was for the Venturi for the whole, and then the actual Venturi size for that particular engine. So even if he's only made one in the past, he's got a record of what he did before. Because I sent him some engines, and he had to look up what he had made in the past. But yeah, you can take any RC engine and put a Venturi and a needle in it for control line. The question is, are you sport flying it? Are you using it for competition? Some are real heavy. Some are big ball bearing, dual ball bearing motors and stuff like that. But for general sport flying,
Well, just going out and flying with the guys. You know, that's all I'm going to be doing.
did you have an engine in particular?
No, I've looked them up, and of course Fox is not making anything. Super Tiger's not making anything. Evolution's not making anything. OS is not making anything. Nobody's making them anymore.
Yeah,
So the only thing you find is online as far as eBay, finding used stuff. And I thought, you know, get a new OS RC,
yeah,
and then just that.
yeah. That's how I ended up with all my 25 and 40 combat motors.
What airplane are you looking for?
For like $20 or $30. Buy them cheap. But
I've got
Eddie,
13 blueprints I'm going to build, so it's not anything in particular. I'm just wondering if you could do it so later on down the road.
When you find OS RC engines, 25s or 40s or 46s, just buy them. Now those Venturis and needles you can just buy right from Tom Dixon, Jim Lee, or Randy Smith. They all have all those in stock.
Okay, cool.
Depends on what kind of stunt engine he's trying to build. I've spent probably 25, 30 years collecting parts. I'm always looking for parts. So I can help if he needs something like obsolete.
Mhm. Yeah, but don't let the wire and the throttle thing open. I mean, a lot of guys do it. I've seen it, but it's
Well, yeah, I've heard. I've never had to do it, but I've heard people doing it.
no. I mean, there's options out there for venturis and needles for pretty much any of the RC motors. You can
Right.
get them to look.
Because you can take the carbs off of them and put a Venturi in. So
That's
that's
it. You call Jim Lee and you say, "Hey, I got this motor. I need a venturi and a needle," and he'll either, do one right through the case if it's got the two holes there, the screws to hold the venturi in, or if it's like the Thunder Tiger stuff where it's a sprinkler venturi, he'll
right.
make up the venturi in a sleeve, because the needle valve body is too narrow. He'll make you a little plastic sleeve to fit it. Jim Lee can do anything for any engine, so don't let that stop you from buying RC motors.
But I've wired them open. They work fine.
They do, but it's come on, man. We're
A
control
little bit
guys.
heavier is what the deal is. They're wanting to
heavier.
tighten them up.
They're heavier. The wires break or the rubber band comes off. I mean, why do that? I just why do that, man?
Well,
That's
a
like
lot
putting
of, on OSs, you have a screw on there that you can turn it all the way in, and
Yeah.
it'll hold it full open, and you don't got to put nothing else on it.
I guess
can't do that with it.
I'm a purist, man. I don't like the look of that, and I never have, and I just thought it was
All a carburetor is on most of them is a rotating venturi.
right.
Right.
I got my camera turned off. Yes.
Fox had true where you had low, you had mid range, you had low, high end adjustment. You did, but most of all these, they're air bleed for idle and stuff like that. They're just an adjustable venturi.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Yeah, they can be made to work, but $25 to Jim Lee for a Tiger needle and a Venturi, and you're done with it, man. You keep the RC carb if you ever want to sell the engine. Yeah, Christ, man, I probably got 20 46 carburetors in there, and I just list them on eBay for buy it now price of like $8 with free shipping, and I get guys that buy them. I probably sell one a month or every other month, just pull offs, and the mufflers too, the OS mufflers.
Sorry for sorry for you YouTube guys. I've been so busy trying to get everything working. I hadn't been really reading what you're posting, but I've got all the stuff working now. Even on the Stunthangar page, the video is working. It's working in the background.
Chris, have you started building your Voodoo yet, or do you have a kit? Or
yeah, I actually built a wing up last night. I made me a little wing rib template and everything, and ended up getting a whole wing built up. So next, I'm going to start on building the motor mount for it.
Okay, well, don't glue that cheek cowl on until you figure out what motor you're putting on there.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that. I figured I might want to hold off for a second on that.
Yeah, figure out what motor you're going to use, because you want to use blind nuts in it, and then put the cheek cowl on.
Yeah,
cheek cowl, so it has a clean look to it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about going with what you're saying and everything, and seeing as how I got that 36X sitting in the box. I think I'll just go ahead and pop that on there. And
you do have one. You got one.
Yeah, I got one. It was given to me by my uncle. I just didn't know what I'd ever do with it. So.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll just go ahead and do that, and then the big thing was I wanted to get. I know the Voodoos use the fuel tank, but I wanted to get away from using a fuel tank and maybe go bladder with it.
Well, let me. I'll put my coat on and get out in the shop, and I'll show you one way you can put a bladder tube in a Voodoo. I've got an old one that my buddy Larry Davis built. I'll show you how you can take a toilet paper roll and make a bladder tank for it and where it'll go. I'll get out there in a second.
Thank you.
While we're in between things, hey Dave, did you ever get a microphone working? I see you've got your mic turned off right now. So let us know whenever you get sound and we'll get you back in the mix.
Come down on that.
You doing okay over there, Pat?
Doing fine. I got a question for you guys.
All right.
Years ago, they made those, I think they were called magic blue heads for a Fox 35. I think a gentleman out in California was building those. And they're anodized blue heads. Does anybody remember those or know where they have any?
Steve, that sounds like something you might know about.
And I've never heard of one. You know, Randy made a head, you know, high compression head and stuff. And
Let me go grab one and I'll be right back. And I'm just looking to see if I can find it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't seen a blue head, but I'm far from a Fox expert. I own a total of one Fox 35. And ever since I found the OS Max S35, I've decided that if I want an engine that runs like a Fox, I'll get a Max S35. It's a sweet, it runs a sweet 4-2 brake, if that's your thing, which generally speaking, if I'm competition stunt flying, I don't give a rat's ass about a 4-2 brake. I want an engine that I am confident is going to have the horsepower when I pull full up to do that wing over and not hope it'll go from 4 to 2. JP
Yeah.
said, Chris, if you're
30, and I've never run either one of them.
JP says, Chris, if you're a newbie, do you want to be flying that fast? Oh, Chris is not a newbie. He's he can fly all kinds of stuff. Let's see. He says, don't get me wrong, but you can fly combat wings just like stunters. Yeah, that's what I was asking Chris too, if he was ready to handle something like that. He said he was ready for that.
Yeah, yeah, I've gotten quite a bit of time on a flying clown and a twister and an All-American and a couple like that. So I just need to. I think I'll be good enough really to start moving up to something faster now.
Yeah, and like anything, start out slow with a low pitch and work your way up to full speed. Once you get up to full speed, it's a handful. You just have to stay ahead of it, and you don't have time for thinking. You just, you got to get good muscle memory with those fast planes. They're fun. If you ain't smiling after you fly one of those tanks out, then you're doing something wrong.
How many ounces should I, shoot from that bladder on that B6X on a Voodoo?
I have no idea. I guess you're gonna have to ask him when he gets back.
Wait till Mike comes back and ask. I'm not sure how much they put in for a combat match either. I'm not sure if that's 5 minutes or what.
Fastest thing I've flown.
I found that head here, this engine. I don't know if you can see it, but let me see if I can turn on some pictures here, some light. Can you guys see this old Fox?
Yeah. Now, anybody, see, everybody here knows to click on his film strip thumbnail to see the big picture. Yeah.
See that head, how it's anodized blue and it's tapered back.
Yeah.
This engine here was built by Lou Woolard probably in about 98, probably a good 20 years ago. It's still brand new. I still have, it came out of the original box. I didn't know if you guys had seen any heads like that in recent years.
No, that's the first for me.
Somebody's making them again now?
I do not know. I bought 2 or 3 from Randy, his heads, but see how the plug is tilted back, and his is tilted the other way.
Right, straight up and down.
And these heads here make a Fox 35 just, I mean, that's the secret right there.
I think they're Tom Mungleton in.
They're just incredible engines when you put that and then an old stuffer backplate on the back of them.
Hey,
And
Chris, I think you're muted.
Is that a hemispherical combustion chamber on that blue head?
I don't know what you're talking about. It's a Hemi head.
Yeah, so it's a Hemi, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I know Brodeck was selling a Hemi head there for a while, but they got out of it.
Yeah. Well, I asked the guy that runs RMS a couple years ago, and he, I think he said a guy named Foster, Larry Foster, or L&J, or one of those guys, built these things years ago. And I only own 3 of them, and I've got several people that's looking for them, and I'm just trying to locate some more of these engines. But like I said, they're obsolete.
Well, if you find them, let me know, because I've been looking for 1 or 2 myself.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that use these Foxes for fishing weights or whatever. But if you can get these heads and these back plates with these Super Tiger needle valves on them, it's a complete different engine.
Hey, Pat, are you on a computer or a tablet or something? Pat, are you on a computer or are you on a phone or a tablet?
I'm on a computer.
You might try wanting to, you're real choppy, and I'm wondering if maybe you turn your bandwidth down a little bit. If you mouse up near the top of the center top of the screen, you'll see a stack of a bunch of controls in a row. You see the one that looks like a cell phone signal? That's the bandwidth control. If you click on that, you see if it's turned all the way up, you might want to slide it down a little bit.
Just click on it and slide it down?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
how's that?
Okay, I'll have to watch you a minute to see if you smooth out, but you're choppy, you know, you stop and go and stop and go. Your audio's okay, but your video is hard to watch.
Yeah.
So
right.
we'll see if that makes any difference.
I turned it on low.
That seems to be picking it up better. We'll watch it for a second and see. Here comes Doug. All right, let me let Doug in. Let's see what kind of t-shirt Doug's wearing tonight.
Flying fast planes. The fastest thing I've flown was I got a Flight Streak Junior, and I took the 15 off of it, took the landing gear off of it, put a skid plate on it, extended the elevator, and put a 25 on it, and flew it on 50-foot lines. And the trees are just a blur to me. You know, this was 30 years ago when I was doing it, and it was just a blur. And I went to do a wing over, and my upline broke. And I drove that thing in the ground and dug it out
I've
of
done
the
that
ground.
before, but it wasn't because my line broke. What you got there? What you got there, Mike?
I wanted to show Chris, this is a very old voodoo that a friend of mine, Larry Davis, built. But one way to make a bladder compartment, that's a toilet paper roll tube right there. And you just put some balsa end caps on both sides, and you splice it in between this rib and the main center rib on the sheeting. Just cut out a hole in the sheeting so you can put that in there, and then either just dope the hell out of that, or you can take some epoxy thin down with IPA or rubbing alcohol to fuel proof it. But that's one way to put a bladder tube into a voodoo. You can't really get one in the traditional way, you know, behind here or behind the spark, because it'd be too far back, and they're too big to fit right here. They would stick out really far and above. So this is how they did it back in the 70s: toilet paper roll, and
well, they used a pacifier on the old voodoos.
Yeah, well, this was made for actual bladder for surgical tubing because it's long and it's, you know,
Right.
inch
But I
and
mean,
3
the original voodoo.
If you did a pacifier, they did that potted meat, those potted meat cans or Vienna sausage cans. And
Underwood deviled
they
ham.
would,
Or
they
one of
would
those
put the
plastic.
Underwood deviled ham, and they would put that can right here for a pacifier, because a pacifier fills up more like a golf ball. But you know, a bladder tube is more like a sausage. So if you're gonna do a bladder, you can do, you know, toilet paper roll that way, Chris. That's just
Yeah, it depends on how your bladder grows, which type you buy.
yes.
How many ounces you got to get in a bladder on a combat plane?
Well, it depends where you're flying and how big your motor is. Some places fly 4-minute matches. Some places fly 5-minute matches. So, like with my 40s, I got to put 4 ounces in my 40s on my big speed limit planes to go 5 minutes. And LA 25 takes about 2 3/4 ounces, 2.5 to 2 3/4 ounces. So on the Voodoos and the Nemesis and the Combat Cats, that stuff that I have vintage engines on, I don't worry about how big the bladder compartment is, because I don't ever fly them in a match. They're just for fun flying, you know. So I'm not trying to get 5-minute flight on this Voodoo. If I put an engine on this Voodoo, I'd fly it, I'd fill it up as much as it would take and just fly it for fun. But typical match is 4 or 5 minutes, so anywhere from 3 to 5 ounces,
Okay.
depending on your motor.
Yeah, that's what Chris wanted to know.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering. I mean, it's more going to be a fun flying plane. I'm not going to fly matches with this one, so.
Oh yeah, no, you don't want to fly Voodoo in matches.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you want to go build another one the next weekend.
I got a double Voodoo kit if you're interested.
I'm good.
I'd like to know.
I got a couple of the double Voodoo kits up there. I've got 2 built, and I've even got one of Stan Fronenberger's new laser cut Voodoo kits as well. So I'm voodooed up. As far as combat planes, they don't fly that well.
That comment was open to anyone who would like
Oh
a
yeah. I understand.
original one. Fair.
They're fun to fly, you know, for nostalgia. Go out and burn a few laps or something, but they really don't turn all that well, if you ask me. They're kind of
Pat?
boring.
Oh, man.
I'm not trying to kill your sale here, Doug. that's
Hey, Doug.
I'm not trying to kill your sale, man. I'm just saying there's better stuff out there to build that's more fun to fly. That's all.
Well,
But
it's just somebody
can have a
would
Voodoo, though.
like
Everybody
to
can have one and build
real-
at least one. You know,
just
it's
somebody might like to have real Voodoo, authentic, vintage ones, more than I need to have it sitting around here.
There's one right there. It's for sale. Everything's for sale, man. I'll bring it to
Hey,
any
Doug.
if anybody wants
Yeah.
to buy it.
I'd already told him about one of those old Super Tigers that you have.
Uh-huh.
I told him that's you probably need to get one of those Super Tigers you have for that airplane.
For the
Voodoo.
two for show.
Hey,
For two for
is Al
two for
Ferrero
show.
on YouTube? Or however they do it, where they comment?
What'd you say, Steve?
Is Al Ferrero watching, or?
Oh, he signs in as Middlesex Modeler, so I don't see him.
Oh, okay.
What was the verdict on the Super Tigers, Pat?
He was wanting some engines for his Voodoo, and I told him that you had several of those old Super Tiger 35s that would work perfect on that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yep. They're a little hot rod. Vroom. They are little hot rods.
Anywho.
How many people are checked in so far, Rusty?
We got 18 watching on YouTube, and let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of us in the live video.
Is it everybody USA or do we got some?
Let's see. We know Gerald Wimmer's in New Zealand. Hey, Gerald. And Gerald's been talking. I have been neglecting the YouTube crowd tonight. Gerald, in fact, says, what 35 size vintage combat model is strong enough to fly combat with, or is it easy to repair? So what?
Spider.
I don't know. What size vintage combat model is strong enough to fly combat and easy enough to repair?
None of them.
That's what I would think too. They're a thing to build. I couldn't build one overnight. More or less show up at the field with 5 of them.
Came out. Do you remember? Do you remember, Pat, when the Spider came out?
No,
What came in?
before my time.
We still fly the Spider.
Is that right, Mike?
What's
Yep.
that? The Spider?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah. If you've seen what a lot of Samantha's airplanes, like the Sassy Sam and all that kind of stuff, that's just a bigger Spider. The
Right.
different on it.
Doug, I didn't fly combat in the 70s, man. I was like 10 years old. I just watched everybody else do it. I watched all the Detroit guys fly back then.
Oh, I think I got an original Spider.
Really? How'd you acquire that?
We build them still.
Trick question coming up here, Mike. If it's the same one I'm thinking of, you know where it originated?
I don't think I know what a Spider is. I might know it when I see it.
I've never heard of it.
It's a trick question, Mike.
I know what a
Hey,
combat.
by the way, which one's pink?
What?
I said, by the way, which one's pink?
Exactly. Right. Yep. You know what that is?
No.
I know what
The
that
one
is.
that's not brown.
No.
No. God.
I missed all that.
Get your finger out of the gutter. Get your mind out of the gutter. No, that is another Pink Floyd tone.
Well, I like the Aerosmith song Pink too.
What's Dave working on there? Those look like Light Hawks or something similar to that.
He
Oh,
was
look
working
there.
on he had a Pico engine
Mike
earlier.
nailed it right there. That does look like a Spider, feller.
That's the Spider.
What you got there, Dave?
Hold
This
on.
Samantha flew.
Go.
Super Spider. Just bigger.
Super
Show the
Spider.
first one again, Steve.
What?
Show the first one again.
Oh, shoot, I was calling you Mike, Steve. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. You can call me anything you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Okay.
And sorry,
Hey,
Mike. I was calling him Mike.
Let me tell Pat and Dave how to look at what you're showing them. If you click on their picture in the little film strip at the bottom, it'll get a white circle around it, and you can see them in a big picture on your screen. When you get finished looking, either click on somebody else or click on it again, and it'll go back to normal.
Hey, that kind of looks, if you change the tail on it, it almost look like a Sky Ray.
Yeah, there. You know, it's probably or something back in the day. I mean, that was from when the Combat Streak and Flight Streak were in.
Yeah, I've seen that model now.
Okay.
That's
How
what
do you like how it flies, Steve?
That's what Dick won in Brodak with. That's what Dick won at the Nats for a beginner. That's what his nephew Pat won the next year.
All right, Dave's got something here. What you got there, Dave? I'm gonna try to turn your microphone on. Boom. There we go.
I think that's a spider too. It came from a rummage sale.
You can't see it.
Yeah.
You can only see the
Oh,
wing.
hold it a little bit lower. There we go.
Yeah, just a straight wing with,
It's a
with
mongoose
that
or
there.
a spider. I don't know which one.
That one looks like a mongoose to me, or an apocalypse.
Ah, yeah, does look like a mongoose, come to think of it. Yep. So here's the trick question. You know where the spider originated?
No.
Wichita.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
We
was
got
it?
Mike Coleman.
Wooly or something like that who made it, Doug?
Pardon?
Was it Wooly?
Yeah, Lou Woolard. Yep.
Mike Coleman.
And Mike Tallman. We've got a lot of control line history right here in this town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
What's that half A you got down there, Dave? Kind of looks a little bit like a light hawk.
Sort of. It's not exactly a light hawk, but it's kind of a light hawk.
Keep it home. I said remind her here.
Going backwards.
Still have it, and I just took it.
They put the templates on the wrong side.
Well,
Yeah.
Got the ring
I got
backwards.
around it. Yeah, it's almost a light hawk. It's close, but I didn't round the tips as much. And it's a little bit bigger.
should I? But
Take that stuff. It will not hurt you.
What? What?
I'm talking to Samantha.
Okay, I'm muting your mic.
Put her on.
She,
Put her on.
come on here for a minute. Here, babes. I'll turn it.
She's world famous, you know.
Hey,
Hi,
Samantha,
I'm headed back.
congratulations.
Thank you.
when does your practice season start? You hadn't been getting any flying time this winter, have you?
It was
No.
zero. It was zero this morning when we got up. When she went to
Yeah.
work, it was zero out.
And whenever college stops, I'll start that midterms all week.
School and work. She has,
Yeah, well, you're about to finish your first year of college. A couple more months.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Here's one I don't quite understand yet, even as long as I've been in the AMA. What is the difference between junior and senior?
Age.
yeah. 16. June, it starts senior. When you
Yeah.
turn 16 years old.
Because
Anyone under 16 is a junior. You're over 16, but not 18. You're a senior.
And now in the world champions, if you're not 21.
You're a junior.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the AMA is going to adopt that too. So the senior will be back to 21 like it used to be.
Huh. Okay. Well, there you go. Thanks. Hey, look there.
Indy and I are headed to bed.
Is that a fox terrier?
She's a rat terrier. She's a baby.
She's a pain in the ass terrier.
It's an OF terrier.
Yeah, we got her just below the gnats. We went all the way to Indiana and got her. That's why her name is Indy.
I didn't think females had gnats.
No.
You missing me.
This is a family show.
She doesn't usually sit like this that long. All right, night everyone.
All right, see you later, Smith.
Yeah, she's smarter than the rest of us. She goes to bed early. But
Hey, Steve,
yeah,
did you say that you had one of, or were building one of Morris's Cavaliers?
yeah, yep.
Is it the IC version or the electric?
I see.
Ah, okay. Full bodied?
No, it's the profile.
Profile?
Yeah, they're a beautiful kit.
Yeah, I bought one. Oh, I don't know. He called it a quick build kit 3-4 years ago, and it corners very, very well. It's a good airplane. Have you ever flown one?
No, I haven't flown it yet. The big thing is I used shit, I can't think of that glue. They don't
What
make
was
it
it?
anymore either. Oh, it was made for canoes and shit.
Casein?
And the hinges let loose. And certain
Oh,
didn't glue good. When I sprayed it, it's like the dope affected it or whatever. And
yeah.
I've been cutting them out with a razor blade and trying to fill it to make it look decent because there'd be a big hump in it. But I went the next time, the times after I went to Signet, I never had that problem again. But them cloth hinges out of that Dacron or whatever he sells,
Yeah.
they didn't stick them down good. So I've been working on that. Otherwise, that thing had been done a long time ago. But just trying to get them, it looked like hell. And I
Yeah.
went to paint it, put
Well,
that.
I'm still in the process of trimming mine out. I've had probably 3 motors on it already, and I think I've settled on an FP40 that I had reworked by Lou Woolard. But it seems like that's way too much motor for that airplane. So
I got an Inya XZ, was it XZ something or other 40 for mine. It's all set up for.
yeah,
You know, I don't know if it's going to be too much motor or not. It's what it's for. 500
yeah.
square inches. I figured that would be.
Well, I can honestly say that airplane I've got from that I built, that Cavalier, actually flies better than me. I mean, it's going to perform for somebody that knows how to put it up there and stay on the handle.
Yeah, a friend of mine's got the electric one, and that thing flies real well. He got it from Tom. So, yeah, I have it. Hopefully, that'll be ready to go this year for me. I got so many airplanes I got to finish.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got about probably 4 that are in various stages of building and painting. I built an Aries several years ago, and it's still sitting on the wall here. I need to get it clear coated, and I think me and Doug are gonna try to get to the Nats this year. And is Billy Warridge still around?
He's still alive, but that's about it, I guess. He ain't doing anything, and
Yeah. Well, I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in that airplane. I was going to have him sign the wing before I clear coated it, and hopefully he can meet us up there this year.
who's
I
that?
thought I saw, excuse me, Pat, I thought I saw a little video not too long ago Billy did about one of his airplanes. Gosh darn it, I can't think of what one it was, but he was doing pretty much the entire build of it.
Oh, that's the old one. That's is oh, that war.
How to build an I-beam, I think.
No,
Yeah, that was it.
well, yeah, there was an I-beam, and then the other one was the P-47. Oh,
yeah.
Darn
and
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Them are Bob Hunt's. Bob would know when they did them, but yeah, I bet you find out that they're 10, 15 years old.
Wow, really? Dang.
Mhm.
Well, we'll just have to go ring his doorbell when we get out that direction.
Hey, Doug, here was
Yeah.
here was this weekend's project.
Hey, is that a Science Olympic? Oh, that's a PEC ROG, isn't it?
It's an ROG, man. Yeah, I found it in the kit stash up there. And it was pretty cold this weekend. I didn't want to be out here in the shop, so I built a rubber free flight in the house over the weekend. I
Yeah.
built the mess of these when I was a kid. I probably built 10 or 15 of these when I was a kid. They were
Yeah, we ran out of kits, so we just started stripping our own wood and reusing the propeller and landing gear. Yep.
I I got started on my laser cut or my CNC Hyper Viper this weekend. I wanted to sand off all the little lines, the etching lines that were left over from the CNC machine, and started on it with 220 sandpaper and rubbed a lot more than I thought I was going to. That wood's harder than I expected. I ended up with 80 grit. You just got to be careful. But I'm finally getting it smoothed out, and I think I'm going to take a little out of the inside of it too.
Yep, that's what I do is take sanding belt, for an electric, like disc sander or whatever, and from an old belt, heck, even that is awesome. And this is one that I've rolled into a little tube with some super glue, and here's one that's flat that is kind of rounded, and shoot, few passes and you're good to go.
Yeah, I got all kinds of different shapes of sanding sticks, and I also like those little things that look like kitchen sponges that they come at Lowe's. They come with from 220 on down to fine grit, and when I get through with them, I just wrap paper around them and stick straight pins into one end of it, and it's good as new again. I can put any type of grit on it I want. Those make good sponges. I call them sponges, but they make good sanding blocks for getting into corners. And
is it a nice kit?
It's beautiful. Yeah, the wood's harder than I expected, but that's
It's
probably
still,
okay.
It's light as can be.
What'd you say?
That wood, even if it is a little harder than you expected, it's still lighter than any.
It is. I weighed all of the pieces before I started sanding just to see how much difference I made, and I think the whole fuselage weighed 74 grams, something like that. And so I'm just going to sand it till it looks nice and start figuring out how to put it together with a bladder compartment and figure out how to. I think I'll put a loop of tubing on the outside to be able to pinch off when I'm starting it, and just figure out how to do that.
How much is the kit, Rusty?
I don't know. The guys over at Cox Engine Forum chipped in and bought it for me, kind of a get well present.
Oh.
And
I think with the wing built,
okay.
$69.
69?
I think with the wing built, and then if you just get a full on kit, it's 59. But of course,
if I remember right, the one I originally wanted was 60, and then I said, "Hey, Greg, bump me up, please, to the deluxe version," and I think it was 75.
He does a beautiful job of putting it together too.
Fantastic! I wouldn't quite get an ARF yet, but as far as an ARC type airplane, this being my first one, I'd say he's got the process nailed.
Have you been working on yours?
No, I have other things lined up before I can even attempt. Doing that. Yeah, not yet. I've looked at it plenty, but haven't done anything.
Yeah, well, I at least finally got it on the work table, and I'm glad I got some sanding done, and still got a lot more to do. But I'm gonna go ahead and build it before I go back to the Cardinal.
Steve, where's the Patriot?
Patriot's downstairs on the table.
Oh, okay. Because I was saying I knew you were going to fly it, and I didn't see it on the bed, and I'm thinking, uh-oh.
No, I didn't. I wanted to fly it this weekend, and I kind of got bummed out about that. Saturday it rained all day, and it was windy. And Sunday it was gusty and windy all day, so it kind of put a damper on me putting it up in the air.
Well, at least it wasn't 0 or 9 or 10 degrees, though, huh?
No, it was Like I said, I got rained out on Saturday. Sunday was windy as all get out and too windy. So I took the plane and took it outside and started running the motor with it in the airplane now, inverted, set my prop and finding out what type of prop I wanted to use and just load with it that way.
Boy, we
Like,
really
got it.
shamed Charles the other night about him not running out there to get his glow plug starter.
His blow driver.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Funny to me. I don't know.
Mike, did you get this last storm last night, or did it miss you?
We had a little bit of rain, but yeah, I mean the weather's still been just a big bag of suck here. Of course, last week, early in the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we hit damn near 72 degrees, and it was beautiful, beautiful flying weather for 3 days. But I had other shit going on, and I couldn't get out and fly. I did manage to. I got the 61 on the test stand, and I'm breaking in the 61 right now. I got about 6 tanks of fuel through it right now.
You warned the neighbors about that one too?
What's that?
You warned the neighbors about running that one too?
No, I don't warn them about that one, man. I just crack the garage door and point the pipe outside so the smoke doesn't set off the detector. I mean, it's no different than a weed whacker or a lawnmower. I'll test run these here all day long, and I do it during the middle of
Pipe
the day.
motors are actually quieter than a regular
Yeah,
mower.
all my neighbors are at work anyway, so
That's
do
what
it
I did
during
on
the day,
Sunday.
and I don't do it on the weekends. I don't run them Saturdays and Sundays, but on weekdays.
What engine is that?
What's that?
What engine is that?
That is a PA61. It's a brand new PA61.
A Randy engine?
Yeah, it's a Randy engine, and it's going in. It's going in that yellow airplane right there.
Wow.
It's going to go in that one. So that one's got a 65 in it that's already broken in and ready to go. I'm waiting to fly that. I've got to break the 61 in for that airplane. And so since I can't fly, I figure I'll break it in, and then I can get that installed, and I can take both of those out and hopefully main them both on the same day.
Yeah.
Once we get some decent weather.
So are you gravitating toward stunt now and kind of pushing combat back?
No, never.
Oh,
He wouldn't admit it if he did.
No,
your hair'd grow back in if you flew stunt.
my hair grow back in if I stop shaving my head. No, I just no, combat's always going to be top of my list. But if I'm going to fly stunt, and now that I've moved up to advanced, I want to have good equipment, man. You know,
I understand.
Been flying junk forever, and if I'm gonna participate in the event, I would like to give myself the best chance with the best equipment, you know.
Where
does the guy get a hold of one of those Aero Tiger 36s?
There was just a couple of them for sale on Stunthangar not long ago.
Oh, wow.
I think there's been 4 that have gone off here in the last 2 or 3 weeks. A guy listed 2, and one sat on there for several weeks. And then I think Gene Martin just maybe sold a couple of Aero Tigers and a PA61 as well here Tuesday or Wednesday of this week was on Stunthangar. You got to get on Stunthangar every morning when you get up and check the classifieds, because that stuff, the Aero Tigers and the PAs, it don't last an hour on there and then somebody's buying it, you know. The good stuff always goes fast. And the crazy thing is, you know, I was trying to hunt down a PA for 3 or 4 months and had zero luck. And now there's been all kinds of them listed since then. I finally got the 2 that I needed, and then I've seen like 5 more listed since then. And I actually bought one of them the week before last, that PA40 that was on there. I bought that one.
Was that the big one or the Merlin?
It's the heavier one, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not the Merlin. It's not the ultralight, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's an earlier version. But it's brand new, unrun, and it came with a pipe, a header, and 3 props. So, and I think I paid a fair price for it. I bought it for Sam. I bought it for Samuel. I figure that you know, a couple years down the road here, he'll need a PA pipe ship when he gets a little bit better, and a 40 would probably be a good start for him. You know.
Well, that's an awful big engine for a combat plane.
Not for a combat plane.
That's
Then you go, how's this work here?
I run Nelson 36s on my combat plane.
that PA-40 you bought will fly any of them 2 airplanes you got there.
Yeah. Well, they're not. The motor mounts aren't set up for it, so that was the whole. I kind of put the cart before the horse there because I bought those airplanes without engines.
Yeah.
And then knowing what was in them, I didn't want to hog on them or try to cram something else in there. So, you know, that's why it took me so long, because I needed, the one plane was set up for a 61. The one plane was set up for a 65. So, but I got them now, and they'll last me a lifetime, you know.
Do the 61 and the 65 have a different footprint? Is that what you mean by setup for one or the other?
I believe the mounting holes are the same, but the fuel tanks in the airplanes are different. 65 is thirstier. Got to have a bigger tank for the 65 than the 65. So, yeah. And I wasn't wanting to go in there and change out tanks and all that shit too, you know. So I just wanted to run them the way that they were built.
Would bolt right in too.
But you're putting those PAs in, those are SVs, right? SV22s?
That's correct. Yeah. I'm dying to fly them, man.
I had a PA-61. I used to have an SV22. It was great, but originally that one, when I got that airplane, it had a PA-65 in it, and I had a 61. I put a 61. They mount direct in.
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be the 40s through the 65s were all the same case.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if they had the same crankcase.
Yeah.
Let's see, we lost Chris Hornady. His telephone battery died, and looks like we lost Dave too. I didn't hear him say bye. I was having trouble hearing Dave's audio. Hopefully he'll get him a little bit better mic. But so we had a couple of new people on here tonight. Pat, this is the first time you've been here, isn't it?
Well, this is the first time I was able to get some equipment together and get my computer going.
Yeah, you got everything working pretty good. It looks like you just got a little bit low bandwidth, but I think after you turned it down a little, I think you smoothed out.
Is it looking better?
Yeah, it's better than it was at first. It was almost unwatchable, and now it's not quite as jumpy.
Okay.
Flying over here.
Yeah, it kind of doesn't make sense that turn your bandwidth down to smooth it out, but that's the way it seems to work.
Okay.
There's no way for me to know how to do that. I'm not smart enough to even follow instructions if someone.
I know, we got you in a special section, Doug, so that's all right.
My helmet's right there on the wall.
Some of them don't know what you're talking about. That's an inside joke.
Pulls up every morning.
What are you saying, Rusty? You rode the short bus?
Yeah. The little bus pulls up every morning too.
I got a coat of dope on the half-A plane.
Oh, good. That's pretty cool color. I like that black and green combination.
That's poster paint, man.
And that's an electric doodad gun, isn't it?
No, it's not electric. It's nitro. This is my half-A stunner for Brodax.
Has it got black speckles in the green?
No,
Looks
you're
like.
seeing the, that's just the foam.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is just green tempera poster paint on foam with clear bath towel over it. That's all. It's a quick and dirty way to get a colored wing.
Speaking of odd paint types, I wonder where Tom Creasy's been. I guess his dad's probably requiring his attention.
Yeah, that's what he said tonight when he got on.
Yeah, he was on a building rampage last winter.
Oh, this fall too. He had all them going, and then his dad got sick, and
yeah.
I got to show you a plane that I built for my brother, and he let me finish for him.
I'll let you finish some for me.
That's nice. Yeah, hey, I'll let you do lots of that kind of stuff, Doug.
Yeah, it's not purple either. You didn't run out of purple paint, did you?
Actually, it is. Let's see if we can get it in here. It's a HOTS. You ever hear of a HOTS radio?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yep. This was it.
Then didn't they make a super HOTS that was a 60 size?
Yes, yeah. I built one of those for him a long time ago too. And
Build that, or did you find a kit?
he had a guy on the Facebook or somewhere had a short kit or something, and he got it, and he thought that was the neatest thing since sliced bread. And I got to looking at it. I said, "Man, this is screwed up. All the parts that were cut out were stuck together with like spray adhesive, and had to peel them all apart, and all the 1/4-inch spars in it were broken, and the leading and trailing edges that were shaped, well, I guess it was the leading edges. They were like 5/8 thick by 1 inch tall by 1/2 inch front to back, long chunk. We're too short for what we're, just, I don't know what. So
wasn't that a Midwest kit?
Originally the HOTS was, yes, indeed.
All right, here comes Al Ferraro. Hang on, Al, and I'll let you in. Middlesex Modelers has shown up. All right, there you are. Good evening, Al.
Hey, so I finished that kit. So I finished that airplane for him a few weeks back, and he was going to put the radio in it. Then he gave me a jingle the other day, and he said, "Hey, can you put the radio in this for me too?" I'm like, okay.
Hey, Al, I seen the pictures on Facebook.
Yeah, who's the famous singer now, Al? Is that your wife, your daughter?
No, yeah, that's my oldest daughter.
It's your oldest daughter. I saw the video of her singing. She's really good, man.
So she got her looks and her talent from your wife?
Yeah, right. She's adopted. Only joking.
So she sings with the band's called the Nerds?
No. Well, no, she just sang just a set with the Nerds. Like,
oh, okay.
The Nerds is a popular cover band throughout New Jersey.
Yep.
Oh. And the guy the promoter that promotes the Nerds, gives them their work. He wanted Carolyn to sing sets, with them. That's with their guitar players and everything. So that was like some big charity event that was at a club.
I like the song.
A year ago. So.
That band's been around for quite a while.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that band's been around for quite a while.
Oh yeah, no, they're really popular. Yeah, no, they play, like in the summer they play, just every day of the weekend. They play like 3 times a week.
Yeah, they've
What-
been around
What
early
was?
2000s.
So she has her own band.
Yeah, but did she win some kind of award? I seen something in her hand.
That's correct. Yeah, she won an award for a new discovered artist in the Lehigh Valley Music Awards. In Pennsylvania, Lehigh Valley is like a music hub, sort of, like a mini Nashville. And they're
I seen
promoting.
it in her hand. I didn't know what it was all about, but
Yeah,
I like the song that she sang, the X's and O's song. That's actually, I like that song, believe it or not. And did you know that that's Rob Schneider's daughter who recorded that?
Oh, really?
You know Rob Schneider, the comedian from The Animal? His daughter is the artist that sings that X's and O's song.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's a cover that Caroline, that's one of the, when she plays out, she does her own music and covers. Like if she has to play a whole night, she has to mix it up because she doesn't have enough of her own music to make it through. But but now she has like an hour and a half of her own music, and to play a whole night you got to play 3 hours.
yeah.
She writes her own? Oh,
I guess I must have missed that whole thing. I don't know who she is, man.
You got to be on Facebook, Doug.
Yeah, but who is she?
My daughter, Carolyn Marie. That's her stage name.
She'll be famous soon enough. And I'll get retired.
You just go to YouTube and plug in Carolyn Marie, and she'll pop up. And she has music videos that we shot, and we like in my basement, in my backyard, in a warehouse, using my friend's cars, and guys, we had a drone doing overhead shots, and just stuff like that. It's all.
What was her name again? Did you say Carolyn Marie?
Yeah,
Okay.
Carolyn Marie.
I'll take a
What
look.
genre of music is
On YouTube.
I think pop, Doug. I think she's a pop singer.
Yeah, she's right. Yeah, pop rock.
Yeah. Hey, did that drone operator have a commercial license when you were filming
Yeah.
the video?
Actually, that was before that, but yes, he does. Yeah, and he had the big he had a
Marie.
DJI, but he had the big one. I forget the name of it. It looks like the Alien. It has like the legs that move up. It wasn't the regular white one that you see. It was like a monster.
Yeah.
And when he fired that thing up, like the kids, it was hot. We did it on Labor Day weekend, and when the kids were drinking and putting all the water bottles and soda cans, when that thing took off, it just like blew everything off the table. It's unbelievable how the amount of air that came off that drone. But yeah, we had a good time last night, and we had a tremendous amount of snow last night. So for me, I was an hour away from home, about 70 miles, and it was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and it was snowing like crazy. I had to, drive home in a blizzard, and I never seen so many cars off the road, stuck, sliding, smashing into each other. I just couldn't believe it. I'm not how people drive so fast in that conditions. I mean, I had an SUV with a 4-wheel drive, but a Toyota Sequoia. But
There's a third name that popped up there.
She's not on there, Marie.
Yeah, she's a third one that popped up here. Right there. Whoops.
No.
Does she have a recording label?
No.
Then there's another Carolyn Marie on there.
Oh, there's about 3 of them. Yeah, when she first was doing it, she was the only one, and there's more of them. There's Honestly Carolyn. There's But no, there you could see the one with the curly hair.
When is she moving to Nashville, man?
Oh, it is the one with the red curly hair?
Yes. Well, not
Does
red.
she, does she do Man Eater and Want to Be
Yeah,
Cool? The
that's
moment?
correct. Yeah, that's it. Her.
All right.
And she's doing YouTube videos now. She's doing like makeup YouTube videos, like reviews and stuff like that.
Ooh, is that a GTO or a 67 Ford?
What you're looking at the "Wanna Be Cool" video?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one we shot in a warehouse with a drone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no professional, professional paid video people
Oh, it's a go. Sorry.
It's all done in house with her friends or some college friends, and the kids dancing in the video are her students.
She has some very attractive friends.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah. So that's been going on between. Actually, I'm trying to. Did anybody see that the Samantha Fish YouTube video? The gal that has the fuel cans for guitars.
Yeah, I've watched a bunch of them.
Right. So I want to try to make a couple of those guitars out of.
Have you ever heard of Split Lip Rayfield?
What's that?
Have you ever heard of Split Lip Rayfield?
No.
They're a local band here in Wichita, and they have a gas fuel tank, from a car, big car fuel tank base.
Okay.
And I think it only has one string.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I want to make
one like a wash tub.
I want to make one out of a Missile Miss can and one out of a Fox Super Fuel can.
Yeah.
Cool, huh?
Samantha Fish's band has a K&B fuel can too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a K&B and a Fox Super Fuel. But
One of those songs supposed to be called "Wanna Be Cool."
Yep, that's right. That's correct.
Well, guys, I'm gonna have to head on out of here.
All right,
Okay,
Eddie.
Eddie. Hey, thanks for coming in and hanging out with us.
I'll try to get back again.
All right.
Yeah,
See ya.
all
right.
Well, she's gonna wonder. Carolyn's gonna wonder why she's got like a 500 hit spike in her views tonight. I'm like, Dad,
Yeah,
800,000 hits tonight.
Yeah, you can hit the bell, subscribe and hit the bell, and every time she goes on, you'll get an email notification.
Yeah.
That little bell thing. It's she's trying to learn the YouTube stuff. She just picked that up.
Yeah. Have you flown your Pathfinder again since your last outing?
No, I mean it snowed here Saturday, and then Sunday I had to go to the awards, but I'm working on a Fox 35 on a Ringmaster now. It's driving me crazy, my friend and I, and it's for one of my friends. It just we're just trying to get it to run, and Saturday I shoveled like 200 foot of snow off the circle just to fly the stupid thing, and we finally we had to switch engines out. It's 40 degrees in the snow. I'm switching engines.
Oh my God, you're die hard, man.
Yeah, changing heads.
You're nuts.
It's like.
Did you say this is on a Ringmaster?
What's that?
Did you say it's on a Ringmaster?
That's correct. A Fox 35 Stunt on a Ringmaster. Yeah.
So it's sitting sideways. What do you think, Pat? Any idea? What was it doing? Or not doing specifically?
Well, I put it together and I put the popsicle stick in it so it wouldn't burn. And it kept on running. It's running away on me. It keeps on running away. So we kept on.
How far is your tank from your engine?
It's not the tank because.
How far away is it from your engine?
Oh, it's very close to the engine. I'm using a clunk tank.
A
4-ounce.
Back plate leaking a little bit.
No, it's not leaking. It's pressure tested. I took the tank off, and I have the the McCoy that runs fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took the tank off the McCoy plane and put it on his plane, and same thing, starts up and runs away. So
maybe you put too much plug in it. Can you carve some of it back out?
well, that's so what we did. So what we finally said, I gave up on that engine. We brought a known good running Fox and put that on there, and then it started to run good, but it's burping on outsides, cutting out,
Yeah.
so
What plug are you using?
I'm gonna try it, not a popsicle stick, but just put a little JB Weld in there to smooth out the corner. There's a hard edge where the bypass is.
Try to grind out that corner.
Say that, grind out what corner?
Where usually they put the popsicle stick in and it hits.
Right.
I heard if you radius that,
Right.
the burp will go away.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was thinking where the popsicle comes up towards the top by the intake port, I was going to put JB Weld in that and make it flow so it's not a right angle. It doesn't gather up there. But
what type of plane you find this in? What type of plane is it? What type of plane?
Ringmaster.
Ringmaster. Okay.
Profile.
I've never had a problem sticking a popsicle stick in there and having the same kind of issues you do.
Right.
I still have a little bit of a burp on the outsides, but it's consistent, and it's not a severe burp, and you expect it, so you can fly right through it. It doesn't affect any of the maneuver. But like Pat said, I'd wonder if is it running away all through the flight?
No. Starts out rich, 4-stroking, and then start doing maneuvers, and all of a sudden it just starts running into 2-stroke and keeps on going.
I wonder if it's not broke in good enough yet.
I mean, on that piston and liner, because I even changed cases because the original case, I found out, I pressure tested the case, and somebody drilled through the motor mounts into the case. So I plugged the holes. It still ran away. I said, okay. My friend Doug gave me another case. I put all the components in another case, put it all back together. Same thing. I mean, I must have about 80 flights on that engine, so it has to be broken in by now.
Well, we had that problem with one that we put on Samantha's airplane, and I finally got some Lust Rocks.
Right.
And I ran Lust Rocks through it, and it ran fine after that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might be right. I mean, I'm thinking that too because it has really good compression. Even when it comes down, it still has a good fit. It holds compression.
It's
really
when
good.
It's hot.
What got there, Gerald?
What propeller and I wonder if the spray bar
at the bottom.
this is turned wrong.
You're breaking up. Say that again, Doug.
What propeller are you using, and is the orifice in the spray bar oriented correctly?
Oh yeah. I tried it. I tried it straight down, just facing to the back, facing to the front. I tried different spray bars. I'm using a Bali 10.5 by 5 prop, which is a good running prop. I have that on my. Right.
Is it a stock Fox 35? Other than the bypass port?
It's the crank's been balanced. It has the Silver Fox. Had the cranks balanced, and I have a piece of sheet metal on the back plate, stainless. I JB weld stainless steel, not stainless steel, spring steel on the back of the back plate, so the rod doesn't gouge out the back plate.
Oh, how about trying to?
But it's got a stock back plate on it.
Say that again?
It has a stock back plate on it, correct?
It's a stock back plate, but I just JB welded on spring steel on the back of the back plate.
Oh.
So because
But you said the engine runs fine at the first 10 laps, you say, and then as it goes through your tank, the engine leans out?
that's correct. And we used, Power Master, all caster, 28% oil, 10%. It was used that, changed plugs, tried box plugs, SIG plugs.
Is it a shiny case one?
No, it's not a shiny case.
Okay.
But I mean, the first one was a shiny case. It had the 4 motor mount holes, the 2 on the side and 1 up and down. And then I tried 2 of those cases.
Liner came out of?
What's that?
That is what the piston and liner came out of a shiny case?
That's correct, yes.
Break-in.
Yeah.
Jack told me about that because we could not get that thing, and he goes, oh, it's a shiny case. He goes, they take like 3 times as long to break in.
Okay.
He goes, they run the best.
Yeah.
Well, you may have to Lustrox it or keep going running it.
My Norvell gave me the same headache.
Oh, why don't you load it up a little bit more? You're using a volley prop that's kind of light on it. Load it up a little bit more to try to keep it more consistent.
I don't load it, actually. I'd go to a.
So we got Gerald trying to get a word in edgewise here. Hey, Gerald.
What's up, Gerald? What are you working on, buddy?
Oh, I was just, I had to pull a motor off, and it's got to go back to England, a POW combat motor, a little 09, it's worn out, needs a new cylinder. Or a new
diesel.
Little half-eight. So, yeah, when a diesel's worn out, you just cannot start them. They're bad news.
A lot of guys can't even start good diesels.
They're a lot of fun when they're good, but a bad one is real painful. But on the Fox thing, I've got 4 Fox 35s that I'm currently running on models.
Yeah.
One on a and some on combat models, and I had one particular one on a combat model, and that thing would lean out, and it was the tightest one, and that was the thing, that was the clue. It would lean out and get hot. And in the end, I just peeved off one day, and I thought, stuff it, pull off the 9.6 prop, and I'll put an 8.6 on it. I'm going to make this bugger rev, and it's not going to stop. First flight it ever flew the whole tank out, because it was so unloaded, it couldn't overheat. And it just flew the whole flight out beautifully. And I thought, well, it's making bugger all power on a 8.6 prop, but it's actually running properly like I want it to, because it was on a vintage combat model. But that really was the only one that was really tight, whereas the looser ones, you can run a 10.6 and you got no problems. But when they're tight like that, they just get hot. And then when they get hot, they just run away and they won't come back. I think it's the same problem with a lot of motors.
Yeah, I had with that silver case.
Yeah.
I never had a Fox break in that hard.
Right.
But that's what the guys at Brodak, the ones that run the Foxes and the rat racing, they want the silver case ones, because once they're broke in, they said they get 400 or 500 extra RPM out of them over a standard one.
The silver case is before the 40th.
Yeah.
As the shiny case or whatever.
Here, let me step away. I think I can find the case. Let me get them. Hold on.
Why would the silver case engine have a different liner in it than the regular case?
He did something different on them one Foxes.
Yeah, but the liners are interchangeable, but the ones that came in the silver case are a harder material. Is that it?
I don't know what it is, but we could not get it to bench start until I put a starter to it. And then the damn thing would only run like 30 seconds and quit.
Yeah.
And I kept running.
I hate having to put an electric starter on one of those.
And then it would run like 2 minutes. But if you read the directions, he says on that engine that you lean it out and it has to hold a higher 2-stroke for the entire tank. And until it does that, it's not broken in. But you got to tack it, and you'll see actually it'll run the tank, but he says it can't drop more than so many RPMs. And as it gets hot, it'll start dropping RPMs.
Yeah, it starts to seize up.
Yeah, we pulled it back off. I stuck it on there and then made up some Lust Rocks with castor oil and dumped it in Venturi. That thing smoked and puked out white stuff, and that's been the best running Fox that I've ever had.
White stuff, really?
Yeah, when you put Lust Rocks to it,
Okay, here's what. Let's see what Al's got.
Al.
What is that Lust Rock?
All right, so
Yeah, the shiny case on the left-hand side there.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the piston aligner came out of the shiny case.
That's your problem. It ain't broke in yet.
Okay.
Lust Rocks, a little Lust Rocks through it. Otherwise, you got a lot of running on a bench to get that thing.
Yeah.
I finally just rocked it.
I mean, I have another piston and liner set. I might put it in the shiny case and try it again.
What
I know
are those rocks?
What's
I'm
that?
sorry, keep interrupted. I don't know what those rocks Steven's describing are.
It was something that Duke made. It come in a little package. It was called Lust Rocks.
Oh.
Spell that.
Lust.
Huh.
What do you do? How do you use it?
It's some kind of rouge powder or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you put it with you mix it in with some castor oil and I just take a toothpick and knob it in there because it'll kill the motor, but it'll smoke like hell and stuff like that. But it was made basically to
lap
the motor in as
You
it's
do it
running.
while it's running. You put it
Yeah.
in while the motor's running.
Yep.
Oh.
Dump it in the Venturi.
Yep.
Really?
Hey, you know, Al,
Strox?
back to that Fox 35.
Right.
Before Lou Woolard passed away, I went over there and I wrote down everything what he told me to do to those Fox 35s to get the burp out of them.
Right.
And all of my Foxes, every one of my engines do not have a burp in them whatsoever.
Really?
And there's a couple of things that you need to do with it when you work on the cylinder, is to, basically grind on the cylinder on the intake port to lower that port down. And two, the best thing you can do now is call Randy and get you a Hemi head for it.
Okay.
Put a gasket underneath that Hemi head. And three, if you can find a Merlin, I think it's a 2005 plug,
Right.
it will completely transform that Fox and you will never have a burp.
Really? Okay. I mean,
Computers, so I can talk.
So
the problem with the Hemi head, though, when it breaks into a four, from 2 to 4, from 4 to 2, that has a lot of compression, and it breaks really hard and fast.
Laptop, yeah.
Yeah, we're actually running a decompressed head, a decompressed Fox head, which is proven on, many times in the past. So it's a smoother transition. But
so you're still running a box stock Fox head on it?
it's a Fox head, stock Fox head on it. But
Hemi head,
no, not a Hemi head. It's a stock Fox head with the wedge chamber cut out of it.
Okay.
And,
what is cut from it?
but it's not the head, because I took the head out and put the stock Fox head on it and still did the same thing.
It's just, it ain't broke in yet. Al.
Yeah, I think you're right, Steve. I think you're right, because it has an awfully good fit for a steel engine.
Yeah, it's just that silver shiny case was a real problem.
Right.
And just like the old, that was like the same year he made the 76 big RC motor that takes a year to break it in, and otherwise it runs away. And it's just a pain in the ass on them.
I mean, I ran into a shiny case in the racing days. One of my friends had a shiny case on a Fox racer, and I started it up, and as soon as we put that thing, it was a Fox race, so you lean it out, and 4-stroke it was fine. You lean it out a little bit, the thing went around four or five laps, overheated and seized. You know, couldn't figure it out. You know, and that was a shiny case also.
Yeah, that was Fox did stuff different ways, and
yeah,
if you just took the time to break it in, they ran good once they're broke in. But
yeah, they do. Yep.
It's just a deal to get them to go. I mean, Jim
And
Lee was it this
don't use starter on them if you can at all avoid it.
35 in that, and you wouldn't believe how good it's a stunt. How good of a stunt, and it doesn't break.
Well, I'm trying to get it. The challenge is trying to get the Fox 35 stunt to run like my McCoy 35 Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge. So we got the Lightning Bolt working so good. We're trying to apply all the same techniques to the 35 stunt because, I mean, Steve knows Doug Benedetti, and he's like a Fox expert, one of the best guys out there. And and between the both of us, we should be able to get this thing to run good. And
but Doug's probably got Lust Rocks. Somebody else.
I don't know.
Oh, other Doug.
We're pulling out everything. We're trying everything on this thing. So
yeah, see if you can. Somebody there has got some damn Lust Rocks and a little.
I mean, I could do like I did to the Norvell. I could put that liquid compound in it, put it on the starter, and spin it through.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't think running a Fox with a starter is a good idea.
No. I mean, I take it apart. I take it, but I did this with the Norvell. I had a Norvell. I got the same. It was too tight, so I put liquid. A non-abrasive liquid compound, a more modern day compound in the piston and liner with the head off. And, I heated it up. I heated it up first with a hot air gun, and then I put the starter on it and ran it through, and it came up, the compound turned black, took it all apart, washed it with hot soapy water, put it back together, and it's the best Norvell ever now,
It's the same thing. Yeah, you can do the same thing with that Fox, but that's the problem. It's got to be lapped in better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the motor on this combat wing here. It's a silver one with the peak pipe on it. That was actually on a string.
I got the ringmaster here. I'll go get it.
All right.
It was too tight. It kept stopping on the shoestring.
Yeah, that's a shiny case too.
Yeah, but it's okay now. It's done a lot of flying on that model, and it could go back on a stunt model and be reliable. But putting it on the combat wing wore it in fast anyway.
Yeah, that was always a problem with them shiny case ones, but they lasted a long time. Like I said, he was talking about the Foxburg races and all that kind of stuff. If you got one of them, you get 400 or 500 RPM more out of them. So,
hey Charles, how we doing?
Yeah, doing well.
You get that motor sent off?
Yep.
That's
I've been
good.
tracking it. It's at the LA International Airport. So it's departing pretty soon, be out of the country.
That's the Stalker.
How long did it take before you get it back?
I don't know. What was that? Gerald, would you ask?
Oh, that was your Stalker 81. Is that right?
No, I sent the K77.
Oh, yeah. That one needed the
Stalker 81 running great.
You wrote down all the dimensions I told you?
Yeah, sure did. I got my notepad.
Yeah, you either on the pipes, and I looked up the other dimensions on it, 15 to 17 on the full length of the pipe itself.
Okay.
But this is the ringmaster. It's a beautiful ringmaster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I love the Black Widow on it.
Yeah, that's Jim's. Jim puts spiders and everything he owns. But
no.
It's driving us up a wall, this engine. But yeah, I think you're right. The the piston and liner came out of the shiny case, and I think I'm starting to think that, but I'm saying it has to be broken in by now. I flew this thing so many times.
Now,
you know,
I ran a gallon of fuel through it on the bench, and it did nothing. And then I lust-roxed it. I ran it like 3 times doing that, and then it was. If you look at the old directions, he talks about it in there. I'd have to find it to where you turn up the RPM on it and you run it in a 2-cycle, and it has to run for a certain length of time without losing any RPM, and you got to use the tack.
Okay.
Once it does that, then it's broke. Then he figures you can put it on an airplane.
Okay.
But
you keep adding that stuff to it to keep the lapping compound in there and just keep running it, or you just put the lapping compound in once and then keep running it?
yeah, it's some kind of lapping compound is all it was, but it was dry.
Is that for a Fox?
Yeah, Fox used to sell it. Called Lust-Rox. I got it around here someplace. It was my brother's. I don't know where it's at, but
I'm always a little leery of using a lapping compound because you can overdo it easy if you're not careful.
Well, if we can't get it, it's going to get a McCoy on there.
That'll do it. Yeah. You know, it's kind of different that I've seen flying here local, that years ago when I was flying with all the, let's just say the guys that pioneered the Foxes, they never ever used a clunk tank. I never seen a clunk tank outside the RC guys until the last 5 years I got into it, and I've seen people use clunk tanks. I don't know if that's an issue, but it might be.
Does control line people know that RC stuff does not work?
I don't know.
That's the only part. You know, luckily that control line came out before RC, or otherwise control line airplanes would not have wings on them, because airplanes have wings on them.
Well, I had a hard tank on the McCoy Ringmaster, and it didn't run right, and it was moving it up and down. And then Doug Reckon said, "Let's put a clunk tank on there," because he had good luck with clunk tanks on a profile, the way he sets them up. And we put that thing on there, and that you couldn't ask for a better run. It's amazing how it just 4 strokes and 2 strokes and comes back to the 4-stroke again from start.
They're not nearly as sensitive about the tank height either.
What's in the clunk tank? Is it round or square?
It's a square. It has the angle. I'll go get that one. Let me put this one back and I'll show you.
But I'll give
I
her.
use those.
If
I
you
use
do
those haze tanks on a lot of sand.
use a non-filtered clunk, if you use that sintered bronze, like RC guys do, and put the filter inside the tank, that will screw up your run. We did that with one of Samantha's airplanes. We took it to the Nats. When you looked at the nose, it went rich, and we're like, it can't go rich. We kept leaning out and go rich. Pulled that clunk out, put a regular tank clunk in there, thing ran fine.
Yeah, I just used the chrome clunks and put the filter on the outside.
It didn't like that sintered clunk, that pebble squished together clunk.
Oh, it hated it. It
wow,
absolutely wrong.
Yeah, I've never used a sintered clunk, but some people seem to swear by them. It seems weird that people get such different experiences.
I run a lot of clunk tanks on Sam's profiles, and we don't have any issue with them. I use
what kind of clunk are you using?
The haze tanks. You can't buy them anymore. I use the haze 3-ounce and 4-ounce tanks.
That just has a clunk with a hole in it.
Correct.
The synthered ones were a filter. They were big in RC.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The filter, it looks like a bunch of like an aquarium filter or something like that.
That really screw up your run if you put one of them in our control line. That
Oh, well, I found the,
must pour fuel in there.
Right. That's the clunk tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took the tank off of this plane, put it on the other plane. They have the same mounting, and it's same, and it had the same problem. And then put
You
the
want
tank back on this plane, and it runs perfect.
You want to sell that motor?
Yeah, that's that Sullivan tank. I like those. Except I turn it sideways so the bump is on the outside.
Yeah.
Either way works fine.
Yeah, it works. This works great, and this engine is amazing. You know?
You can't beat it on McCoy.
What about John Skukulek wants to know if we're using Uniflow on the front?
There's not a Lightning 35 on there for McCoy.
Yeah, what is the significance of whether they have lightning bolts on it or not?
Show them the exhaust on that. What's different about it?
The Lightning Bolt is actually a tester's engine, and it has a fenced liner, like it should take a ring. But in stock form, they don't have any compression. It's just like your other McCoy. But what I do is I take a piston and a ring out of the Series 21 McCoy, and I hone this liner with a brake cylinder, for brake cylinders, and I put the piston and ring on the rod of the McCoy. You have to open up the piston to take the pin about 3/1000, and put it together, and it turns it into an amazing engine.
Yeah.
Hey, Al, John Skukulek wants to know.
It's not a ring engine. Sorry, Rusty. Go ahead.
John Skukulek wants to know if you're using Uniflow setup on that.
That's correct. Yes, I am.
Yeah. Looks like you got about a ½ ounce of fuel in there.
Are you using Uniflow setup?
That's the clunk there.
Yeah, you're using Uniflow setup on a square, you're gonna have more issues. But why don't you try a round tank? Round tank's gonna give you a better fuel supply on a round tank doing Uniflow.
This thing runs so great, I'm not touching anything.
I don't need Uniflow with the blunt tank. I don't need Uniflow with the blunt tanks.
Running the box with it that way.
If it ain't broke, don't
I always ran the clone tanks. I ran the round baby bottles, and I had better luck with them. I ran them Uniflow.
But this has the big silver clunk in it. It's not the filtered one. It's the big.
Yeah, that filter one will cause troubles.
Right.
If you guys
I've never found the need to use Uniflow setup with a clunk tank. They run just fine without it.
These hay tanks are pretty good for profiles. Now, you can't find them anymore. They might still be hanging on your hobby shop wall, and you can find them in swap meets. But
what tanks did you say?
Hayes.
Hayes.
Oh, yeah.
I run these on all kinds of Sam's profiles. I got 2 ounce, 3 ounce, and 4 ounce, and not a Uniflow. It's just actually that hole is plugged. You got to drill it out if you want to use it. So that one's open, and there's the pickup and the clunk. But they work great. They really do.
The body 10.5 by 5 is the best prop for that cross. I tried the 10.6 APC, too much load, the 10.5, not enough load, and I tried the Master Ash screws. The Master 10.6 is probably the best besides the Bali, from what I've been, flying here.
Yeah.
But,
Al, your audio signal just crapped out bad.
When you got part of it.
Yeah, it did. I couldn't hear anything he said.
Yeah, Al, your audio went bad that time.
Never command you.
Hey, Charles, you want to buy a glow igniter?
Oh, that's funny.
Why are you going all electric, Mike?
I had some garage that they weren't charged. The ones that were charged were in the car. I charged them, and put them in the car.
Okay.
So.
Who is that? With
That's
circle?
Al.
Al, you're breaking up bad.
Something's
Yeah.
wrong with you.
You're playing a banjo instead of talking.
You're freezing up too. Oh, I think he's gone.
I think we lost Al.
There he's
Your
back.
video's freezing and your audio is real choppy.
Wow. Okay. Let me see.
Well, you seem to be fine now.
Oh, he's gone.
He's
Now.
he's hopefully he'll come right back. Yeah, it went bad on him. That sounded like a bandwidth problem on his end.
So is PAW, are they still making motors and stuff there in England, or?
Yeah, they're still doing it. They're still making their little diesels from like I think it's like a 03 or something right up to their 60 sized diesels. So yeah, they're still making them, and they said they'll repair this one for £30. I'll put a new piston in it, rebore it. So I'll send that one back because it's been a great little motor. And I've got to get a rod for another motor and a crankshaft for another one. So at least you can repair them. So that's a good thing about PAW. They'll service their motors and supply the parts.
Let's do an audio. Let's do an audio test.
Gerald, to have the engine repaired for that price, or is that expensive?
Not dear. That one they said to rebore is £30. So that's probably like 60. No, probably like 40. I have to do a conversion. Probably $45 US to have it rebored.
That's not what I mean. Is it worth, I guess, is it worth having it done, or would it be just put it on the shelf and find another power plant?
Can't find another diesel. That's the problem now. All these engines are drying up. So if it weren't for people like Brian Gardner making ABC sets for your LA 46s or your Fox 36s, we'll start to run out of engines, the ones we want to use anyway. I know there are lots of radio motors out there, but you're not going to find a Schnell ported PAW 1.5 or 09 easily. So you have to see what you got.
No. Did I show you my little diesel engine the other day? That one, I can't pronounce the name of it. This Junior Doodad.
Oh, the Chipola Junior. Yep, yeah, I remember that. Yep, yeah, I remember you showing us.
Do you have an opinion of its how well it would work?
I've had two of the Glow versions and one of the diesels, but the diesel I had when I got it was already worn out. And with a diesel, it's critical that the cylinder piston fit be very tight. Otherwise, they lose all their compression. And like the saying is, I was reading on one type, they said, no nip, no zip. And once you've lost that nip at the top of the liner, then all your compression's gone, your power goes away with it. So you might lose 2,000 RPM with a worn cylinder piston over one that's reasonable. Just from tacking them, that's what I found anyway. It's a big power loss with a small engine. With a bigger engine, like a 60 size diesel, it can have quite a loose fit and still run reasonably. I suppose it's the same with an 049. If there's no fit, there's no power. But with a bigger 60, it's more tolerant of a loose fit.
And then I've got this little doodad.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it looks like it's a Dart, an Albion Dart. That's a very early diesel.
Well, from what I understand, it says right on the side, is a McCoy Duraglow.
Oh, yeah, I can't see it very clearly. Yeah, the little McCoy diesel, the 049. Yeah, my brother had one of those. Yeah.
Let's do an audio test and see if Al's
I'm still looking for a project for this little engine.
Are you there, Al? Can you hear us?
I think so. I think Windows is trying to update.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Today was update day.
Carol, there's my diesel.
What do you got? Man, I see those on eBay all the time. Like,
what is it?
It's a Mark 17 is what they call it. I've got one of them in a Phantom Racer.
Real high, please.
A little higher, Steve.
Higher?
There you go.
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty
That's
cool.
Russian, right? That's like a 2.5 Russian motor.
1.48 it says.
Okay,
Yeah.
they make it 2.5 too, I think.
Yeah.
Is that a hot rod engine, Steve?
Huh?
Is it a hot rod engine?
I don't know. We ran it. It seems to run good. Started
What's
right.
that? What's that one you got, Gerald?
Same motor that Steve's got, but in a model. It's in a little Keelcraft Phantom.
Oh, and a Phantom.
Yeah, and that was actually a Brodeck Phantom, that one. So not Brodeck. What was it? The Black Hawk models made the little Phantoms. So
Blackhawk, yeah.
yeah.
So that's a speed model then.
Yeah, like team race model. But
Is that like the Perky that?
Yeah, it looks like a Perky. Yeah.
That we do.
The Phantom's very similar to a Perky.
Yeah.
Are they the same purpose?
Yes.
Bulldog, yeah. Trainer.
Yeah,
I bid on that. I got it for $20 on eBay. So
That's what I was gonna say, Steve. I see those listed all the time, man, and they go for super cheap.
Yeah. They don't make a lot of power and they don't last.
They don't last. Oh, okay.
No.
all right.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I
Maybe
think the
that's why they're
piston,
so cheap.
yeah, I think the piston material is a bit soft. Maybe you'll get good ones, but like with the MAP or Mars 2.5, it's a bit up and down. You get a really good one, and then you'll get one that's quite loose from the factory. I think they were made by a technical college in the Soviet era. So it depended how much knowledge I think the person was, how knowledgeable they were when they were assembling them.
How well did Inya diesels last?
It depended on the model as well. Some of them have got a really good reputation and others don't. They had a few duds. Like an early Enya 15 diesel was powerful, but it broke the crank. And they were well known for breaking the crank, whereas the later ones were much improved, very good motor. Like the OS 15 diesel, that was a good little engine as well. They're sought after. But yeah, the most of the diesels now are either from the former Soviet Union, made in another era in the 70s and 60s, or there's the PAW around, and I think there's a Fora and a Para diesels that are out there as well. But you've got to pay quite big dollars to get one.
Gerald, do you ever see any Super Tiger diesels?
Very rare. They're quite sought after, and to
Yeah,
find one in good order is hard.
I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm probably going to puke after I tell it. My dad had a pair of 09 Super Tiger diesels and a pair of 15 09, or a pair of 15 Super Tiger diesels. He had four, two 09s and two 15s. And he just ran them on the bench, Well, he ran like one of each on the bench. The others were new in the box. And after he passed away, I took some of his modeling stuff to the RC field, and one of the guys there talked me out of all four of those diesel engines that belonged to my dad. But I mean, they had the boxes and everything. They still had the jewel cases and the boxes, and they were Super Tiger diesels, both of them.
Wow. They would be worth a fair bit on eBay. Yeah.
I wonder what.
Signing off, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later.
Right.
All
right, Steve. Take it easy.
What they'd be worth today.
Feeling out?
I gave them away,
Yeah.
Next to nothing. I mean, I was 18 years old, and I was like, diesels, I'm not going to run any diesel shit. And of course, in 1985, I wasn't thinking ahead to the future that someday they might be valuable,
Yeah.
A friend from England, there's a guy over there that still makes 4 cycles. They're super nice 4 strokes, and they're all billet made and stuff. And he talked to a guy into making him a diesel 4-stroke, only one in existence, and that thing will idle down to nothing. It's never been in an airplane, but he just bench runs it. But he spent big dollars getting that guy to build him a diesel.
Just so he can stand there and watch it run.
Yeah. I got a question for Charles. On your engine, I saw the rod that was bent.
Yeah.
And I never saw, I never seen a rod bend that far that didn't crack. But I was wondering, because that's supposed to be a copy of the PA.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing with it, but you might ask Randy Smith if he has a rod for that engine.
Oh, it's too late. I sent it to Oleg in the Ukraine.
Okay.
What now? Does Oleg make the Brodak motors?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I was that was just I didn't know if if he was going to fix it or not for you, but that might have been a fix. Get a rod from a PA, which is a quality rod.
That's an idea. Yeah, that's an idea.
And put that in there, and have like Randy or somebody that knows engines. I could even do it for you. Go through it all and set it up.
Here comes Dennis Nunez.
So.
Oh, I didn't know what that was.
Hey,
I was,
Gerald.
I was bracing for the worst.
Yeah, I know. It looked like foreskin up there, didn't it?
Hey, Dennis.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Head was back, right?
Yeah. Hey, Gerald, why do you think that diesels are so popular in Europe and in Australia and New Zealand, and they just never really took off here in the States? I mean, guys that use them, it's just because they want to have something wacky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were never really widely accepted here. Why do you think that is?
I think it was because nitro was hard to get in Europe and England, and yet they could still get the diesel ingredient easy.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep. And same way with the low nitro fuel, they use FAI fuel because you couldn't get nitro over there. So, yeah.
Well, it's no nitro fuel, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I only saw one guy run a diesel any good, and he had to use some exotic diesel fuel to get it to run good.
My dad only used his. He only ran them on a bench.
Yeah.
209s and 215s. He had an 049 conversion from Davis Diesel, and then he had an OSFP 40 with the Davis Diesel head on it. But Dad never put them in an airplane. He always would just put them on a test stand and either run them in the basement or run them in the backyard. God, I remember when he ran them in the basement, it used to stink up the whole house, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. They smell really bad.
Yeah, but he never used them on a plane. He liked to fiddle with stuff, and he wanted something different and something unique. But never put them on a plane.
The funny thing is, here a lot of people love the smell of a diesel. It's something romantic about it, or nostalgic. And you start up your diesel, and all these modelers come running to smell the smell of a diesel. It's quite weird. I suppose we'll do that in the future when it's all electric with the glow engines. But the thing with diesels are they're very easy to restart when they're hot. So for team racing, they work really well. It's often just one whack and they're off again. You don't need to get the igniter on it. They're off quickly.
Those guys are using special fuel. They got a lot of additives in that fuel to make them run like that. That's not regular.
Dad used
you guys are running
kerosene and ether and some kind of.
They got something else in there.
He always had a can of ether in the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I make up my own diesel fuel, I normally make up a mixture of 25% castor oil, 35% ether, the rest is Kero, and then I add on 2% diesel ignition improver, which is like amyl nitrate that you can't buy now, but it's like an anti-knock additive that they use in some trucks and large diesel engines. So you have a bit of trouble getting those ingredients, but once you've got the ingredients, you've got an easy starting motor.
Yeah, amyl nitrate is just deadly as hell.
Man, you try to buy any of that stuff today, you'll have Homeland Security knocking on your door, man.
It always used to make me laugh because when we used to clown race, we had to use 10% fuel with 20% oil, contest supplied. Like the diesel guys, they could run their own fuel, whatever they bring, and then they were putting all the different additives in it to get it to restart, like Gerald was saying. And I still beat them, in clown racing with my glow engine. But but that's what I'm saying. Like Why can't I use any fuel? Why don't you just give those guys a can of David, what's that? Davis diesel fuel, whatever they make, that you can buy in a can. But yet, I had to use store-bought fuel.
Yeah.
Big thing at the World Championships, guys were arguing to use a stock fuel, and they don't want to do it, but they're saying, some of these guys we can't get what the Russians can get.
Yeah.
Well, they should be burning electrons, man. Electrons are a great equalizer, I guess.
Yeah, they come up with different batteries and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, there's more coming.
Yeah. Hey Al, speaking of racing, didn't I race you at Brodax?
Yes, yeah. Yep. The first year you were flying for Paul Smith, yeah.
I was flying. Yeah, I was trying to remember who I was flying against.
Yeah, I was in a circle with you. Yeah.
Who was the other guy?
Oh, I forget. It might have been Banjack.
No, it wasn't Dan.
No.
No, he was a little taller than you, but shorter than me. I had never flown a Foxburg. It was Foxburg Expert, I think I flew.
Right.
And Paul Smith talked me into flying his plane. And I
okay.
didn't know what I was in for. We were out there 18 minutes or something.
Was it Hallis?
It was Dave Hallis.
Dave Hallis, yeah. Oh, he's a good pilot, yeah.
I had never flown 3-up in my life. Never flown racing.
Well,
because 100 degrees that day.
I was sort of messing with you a little bit, because I was forcing you out to the outside of the circle because your plane was so fast.
Yeah, you were making. I was
making you run.
I was running. And I was sweating. Hell, I needed a beer about halfway through.
Yeah, no, I was forcing you to the outside of the circle a little bit because your plane was so fast. Like, I don't know what Paul has in that plane, but that thing is so fast.
Yeah.
So I was messing with you a little bit.
Well, for the guys that weren't there, that was my first and only ever 3-up racing, and we won the event. And then I retired after that because it'll kill you, man.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
A lot of physical stamina there. And
oh yeah. No,
that looks like an intense event.
It is.
Hey,
but it was
let me butt in here real quick for a question.
All right.
I need to find a extension that fits on the muffler here to give it more right here.
You can buy that stuff from Dubra.
Yeah, I was going to say that Tower Hobby has that stuff. Or used to.
Yeah, Dubra makes one.
I'll give them a shout.
What is it for, Doug?
You can take
it's an OS 10.
Doug, and just whack
little OS 10.
OS 10?
Yep.
No.
You may have a hard time finding that.
Yeah, that's oddball for sure.
Either that or find a muffler and cut it off.
Yeah, find another muffler and cut that part of it off.
Well, see, there's more than one way to skin a cat, there, guys.
You should be able to find a muffler cheap at a swap meet or something.
Well, I was going to ask earlier if anybody knew anybody that went to the Perry swap meet in Georgia this weekend.
I don't get around.
I did. I had my order put in. I haven't heard if I got my McCoys or not.
Okay, I know some of the guys from the RC club here drove down for it, but I haven't spoken to them, and I hadn't really seen anybody post about it on Facebook. But it's a pretty big show. It's comparable to Toledo swap meet.
They said that the vendor part is better.
The what is?
Toledo has vendors.
The vendor part, because there's no big box stores or anything. It's all vendors, and it's a huge swap meet. The guys that I talked to said it's the best one they've ever been to.
I drove down there 3 years ago. Samuel and I went down there for it. And I scored some pretty good stuff, man. Al, you'll appreciate this. I got like 15 of the OS 1A15 needles.
Nice.
$2, brand new in package.
Cool.
15 of them a guy had.
Wow. I'm using those F2D needles. I'm trying them out now.
Okay.
You know,
actually, needle.
It's
kind of wondered though how that swap meet went with all the tornadoes and stuff going through Georgia.
I actually got one in the McCoy here. Can you see it?
Yeah, is that the 4 needle?
It's a copy of the 4 needle. It's made by Andrew Nadine, but you see it.
Yeah.
They're real nice.
Who does the D sell through? Is he here?
It has a spring. It has a spring on it. Not only does it have the silicone tubing to hold the needle, it has a spring on the thumb wheel too.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's really nice.
What are they, about $20?
At 25.
25.
Is
And
that
we're
Junior? Junior?
Well, I bought. Don't you know who Andrew is?
Hey, is he the guy that built all the planes for Roy Glenn?
No. He's an F2D combat. You'll see him at the Nats all the time.
Yeah,
F2D combat guy, tall guy, Russian guy.
Yeah, I think he built a bunch of F2D and speed limit planes for Roy Glenn. Because I got a couple of his crashed ones here. They got his name on them.
Andrew Nadine?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe. That I don't know. But I know he's a machinist.
So, and is he in the U.S.?
Yeah, in PA.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's the guy. Does he run a site or?
No, I know Alex, the other F2D guy, Prokofiev. He's the top. He's the guy that goes to they go all over the world, and he's one of the top flyers. He always comes in the top 3 all the time.
Okay.
He goes, to the championships and all that stuff. So those guys are friends. So I just ordered it from Alex, and Alex picked it up.
Okay.
Alex,
He don't have a website or anything.
No, Alex lives close to me.
Okay.
So if I need one for my my McCoy, then you can get me one, huh?
I'll get you whatever you need for your McCoy.
Yeah, I haven't heard if I got one or not, but
they're popping up on eBay. I've never seen so many lightning bolts popping up on eBay like crazy.
Is that the guy?
I can't find one. They're all
over eBay. I have to click on Mike's thing. Let me see.
Oh yeah, I gotta click on it too. There we go.
Yeah, Andrew Nadine. Yeah, I guess that's him. Yeah,
that's him. Okay, yeah.
His daughter.
I got a couple of trash can models from Roy Glenn at Huntersville a few years ago.
Okay, his daughter flew combat.
Yeah.
His daughter represented the United States in combat a few years ago.
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah. About 3 years ago, I guess.
Oh, it was 3 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, but those guys are like at the top level combat flyers. They're really, really good. They're out there practicing. From time to time, I see Mark Whitner will come over and meet with Alex and those guys, and they practice before the Nats or wherever they're going. They chase the combat contests all over the state.
Yeah.
They wanted me to join into them, but I can't make that kind of commitment to them.
Yeah, F2D's not for me either, man. Too many rules, too much equipment, too much expensive equipment.
Yeah. And the travel, I can't. I have very limited time. I work. I'm with my own business and stuff. I can't take off like that.
Wow, Dennis, is that in primer or is that in white?
That's in white. The base color is finally applied.
All right. Looks good.
Some couple touch-up areas and some sanding. And should be ready for the trim colors.
All right. Yeah, you'll have that thing ready to go anytime now.
Dennis,
I'm still waiting for my pipe.
You're running a 3-blade?
Yeah.
How did you try? Because I have an experiment with 3 blades in Stunt. How narrow can you make it? You know, before you actually feel it. Did you ever try a smaller one?
This is my first carbon fiber 3-blade.
Okay.
Rojet 61. So, and again, I'm going by the recommendation of Brett Buck, which is was a flat back,
Okay.
12.5 by 3 3/4 inch pitch prop.
I'm always surprised at how narrow those props are.
What's the diameter of that? It doesn't look that long.
12.5.
Okay.
So what is Rich gonna make you a pipe?
Yeah, they're supposed to make up another one because the other one was defective.
Oh, no kidding.
It
Had
had
a little
a bunch of pinhole leaks.
I remember you saying that.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I remember seeing it, and you said, you know.
Oh, what's there short of I see Charles. Are you looking for a header? There's a header shortage or something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Randy told me he was making 75 pipes. I talked to him 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he said, well, he's waiting for the weather to warm up so he can, make them.
Yeah,
But
I think
they're on the list.
Yeah, I wish if I could get my oven back, I'd start making pipes. But I built that oven for Billy. It works really good, but then he quit making them. Maybe Billy's making some for Randy this time. I don't know. Unless Randy, I doubt if Randy makes them himself.
What kind of oven do you need to make a pipe?
The one I made, it'd go to 100 degrees for an hour. Then it automatically go up to 200 degrees for another hour. 300 for another hour.
And that's just a molded carbon fiber pipe.
It hung inside the oven, but it was a deal to where he wanted to hold it within 10 degrees. And the only problem I had is when you first turned it on, you get to hold at 100. It would fluctuate like 20 degrees up and down. So I just told them they had to run it for like a half an hour to get everything heated up, you know, to get everything at 100. And then once it went to 200 and 300, I could hold within a degree up or down for as long as they wanted. It was just when it first started off, I had a hard time getting the programming to work, the thing to hold the temperature. But they said that was okay, that, you know, you could just turn it on for a half an hour, let the oven heat up, then put your stuff in it, and then go. It worked great after that. But I just modified a smoker. Took a smoker cabinet, re-insulated stuff, and then with that fancy control for industrial ovens or whatever, I put that on there and then had it learn and time over curve over that curve, but it wasn't too bad. It took me, I don't know, 2 days of testing and making sure. I just plugged it in my front room. So I figured it was in the wintertime and stuff, and all the heat that I was generating, I might as well use it to keep my house warm.
So, hey guys, I'm gonna bug out of here, man. I'll catch you all Friday.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. We'll see you later. Have a good week.
Okay, take care.
Tom Creasy dropped in a little bit ago and said he was going to hit the shower and see if we were here when he got out. I told him we're probably going to wrap it up pretty soon.
Well, tell him we can't smell him on internet. So He could have taken a shower afterwards.
Maybe he was too greasy after work.
Could be.
Tom Greasy. Greasy.
So when are you going to start the trim on it, Dennis?
Probably middle of this week or towards the end of the week. I want this. I just sprayed the fuselage, some touch-up areas. I want that to dry really good. I don't want it lifting on me.
Right.
Dope or car paint?
What's that?
Is that car paint or dope?
Dope.
So for the trim, do you have some masks, or are you gonna just use tape, or what are you gonna do?
Just tape it and paint it. It'll be same as the other one.
So you gonna send some money to Bob Hunt, some royalties
Not
on the
yet.
trim?
No, it'll look similar to the other one. I have it here. Hang on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Dennis doesn't have to give Bob any money unless he uses bronze color.
Bronze color, eh?
That ringmaster Al showed us a while ago looked like it had some bronze on it. Did it have bronze on it, Al?
Yes. Yeah. The other one. Yes, it did. Yeah. That was Jim used duplicolor paint in the court. That car paint.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
acrylic lacquer, is that what it's called?
I think so.
That was your last year's airplane, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what motor's in that one? What engine?
This is an old Super Tiger 60.
Okay. So is that your first experience with the road jet, or you had? Okay.
Speaking of Roe, he was on here the other night. Richard Oliver, I sent him a email with instructions on how to get into the live video. He was over on YouTube on Friday night.
Yeah.
Come out and talk to engines with us, and my buddy from Cox Engine Forums, David Fountain, was on too, and he knows he's a A&P guy, and he knows a hell of a lot about engines, and so that was a good time for Richard to be on when somebody else that was here that knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, I learned a lot. That was great.
Yeah, I was watching when you guys that was Monday. I mean, it's Friday.
Friday, yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. I was watching from the YouTube.
That was the one you guys had Charles running all over the place?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to shame him into getting his damn glow driver.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize he had to park 3 blocks from his house because he lives in California.
Yeah, that's not detonation. Detonation would have destroyed that glow plug. That's why I wanted to see if that glow plug lit. That's not detonation. I think that's a bad rod. I've never seen a rod bend like that. That's made out of bubble gum.
Yeah, that's right. It looked like it was just made out of soft, malleable metal.
It did, yeah.
Like heat treated or something.
Well, do they heat treat the alloy on rod, or is it just a different type of alloy? Any ideas, Al?
No, I have no idea. I should know, but I don't.
Charles, could that have been a problem all along? Because didn't you have problems with that engine when you first got it?
Oh, he disappeared.
We lost him. Oh, he's coming back.
There he is.
Yeah, here he comes. Hang on, I'll let him back in.
Did you go get your glow?
Yeah, I was actually trying to. Oleg had responded to me. I sent him some comments based upon what David said, and I was going to try to read what he said.
But when you inherited that engine, weren't you having problems getting it to run correctly when you first got it?
Oh yeah, yes. I never had a good engine run. I mean, I think the best I had, it was good up until I don't know, maybe the triangle or something, you know. Then it would just slow down and not have to. I couldn't do any more maneuvers because the plane wasn't going fast enough.
Yeah, that rod was slowly bending.
Yeah, it was. And you know, Walter kept telling me it's a good motor. You know, you got to just. And then I was with my friend Dave Stabon, and he was, well, try this. And then he went to Kaz Renato's website and got the what Kaz recommended, and said, this is what Kaz recommends. You know, so I did that, and I still didn't get any good engine runs.
Oh.
And that was the used motor?
No, it was a new motor.
Oh, it was brand new to you. You bought it brand new.
When I got it, it was given to me. When I got it, it was brand new.
Okay.
So I bench run it like the directions said on Kaz's website. I bench run it 4 times. It said bench run it 4 times and put it in the plane. And
that's weird. Anything like that.
So hopefully Oleg is going to fix it, and then I'm getting another one too. So hopefully I'll have 2 motors.
Tell him next time use a Pepsi can instead of a Coke can.
I was going to recommend a Fox 35 stunt rod. But
yeah, I think that PA rod is a good idea, though.
Yeah, no, that would have been.
If they're identical, I mean, supposedly, I don't know how much you can copy another motor without getting into trouble, but supposedly the internals are supposed to be like the PA.
There's only so many combinations you can get with the same bore and stroke. The big and little holes have to, you know, fit the piston pin and the crank pin, but other than that,
it's all on the deck height too. You know how high the is off the center of the crank.
Right.
But I mean, that was just a thought, you know, because if just from hearing what everybody's saying about the, you know, the Kaz motor versus the PA, and you know, so if it's that close, you know, there's a quality rod to be had if the crank pin's the same and the wrist pin's the same, and you know.
Yeah, Oleg said that. I remember now. He said that he didn't think I should run any nitro in that motor.
Yeah, well,
if I was to run nitro, maybe put 5 head shims in it.
5? I mean 5,000ths or 10?
No, he said put 2 to 5 head shims.
Wow. And how thick are the head shims? Do you know?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he said how thick they would be, but
I would think you would just raise it up like 10,000ths. Should do it 15,000ths. You know.
Yeah. So yeah. So it's.
I mean, his head shims might be only 2,000ths. So if you put 5 of them in, that's 10. Yeah.
Well, Charles, if push comes to shove, I have a Fox 15 hanging on my wall that you can have.
Is this the one you won the?
The only thing I hear is good for is to hurl.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Yeah.
You should see one of my friends. He flew it at Brodak in profile Fox 15. They have the Sparky has the video. It ran great. You know, last year.
They seem to vary a lot.
You know, he put it in an advanced stunt, profile. He used a Fox 15 on a Shark.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, some of them are really good, and others aren't so good.
Yeah.
That one's one that lost all its fit with a couple of runs, and I think I just get out a bit much.
Yeah, he's using the one that that the guys hurl. So
that would be a junior sized plane, right?
Yes, yeah. It was Carl Schaefer. Or Tom Schaefer, and he used a Fox 15 on a Shark Junior.
Yeah,
and the judges couldn't believe it. It was Joe Gilbert was judging. I forget who the other judge was, but
I've never seen anybody fly a small plane like that in contest.
The Fox 15X has got the bronze bushing, and the plain one doesn't have a bronze bushing. And I think I suspect the timing's a bit different because they seem to perform very differently. And then there's the double X, and like I've got an X on this model here. Oh, my back's killing me. I can't straighten out my back properly. But yeah, this one here on this little model here, it's neat and it goes beautifully. It's a brilliant run out of it.
Right.
Wow, looks nice.
Yeah, we have here in Michigan, we got the Tour de Michigan, and we have Fox 15 races. You can only have a Fox 15. So they weren't doing any plane bearing 15, but you had to have an Inya 15 because the Inya 15 was just so much faster than any of the other motors that now they sent back to the Fox 15. So
yeah, well, it's beautiful. So at least it's not discriminating in that sense. Anybody can buy a Fox 15 and compete.
They were hard to get for a while, them older ones like that, because you couldn't run the coffin back one or whatever, that other 15.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get them, but now they're showing up again. So.
And no, we've been on the vintage engine kick over here. You know, we're playing with all that stuff right now. So, you know,
it's a lot of
guys in the club.
Well, I want to build more vintage combat models and use some 36 features that I've gradually bought over eBay, and just the nostalgia thing is what's appealing. I was flying a whole lot of old Fox 19 powered combat models. It wasn't me flying; it was my two sons. But yeah, they've got the old Fox 19 baffles on them, and they're a great little motor. They run really well.
Very nice.
On vintage combat models, a couple of them. But,
Very nice. Yeah, I saw your thread on that Stunthangar. 77 planes that can go fly right now.
yeah,
That's incredible.
77. Wow.
Yeah, it's just maintaining them. I often spend a lot of time during the week repairing when you get a session.
Wow, that's amazing.
I counted up mine more or less the other night, and give or take a fuel filter here or a piece of fuel line there, I got up to about 10 or 11 planes that I could actually pick up and take to the field and fly. So that's not as bad as I thought it was.
That's pretty good.
Now I couldn't go enter a stunt contest I've got probably two that I could seriously go out there and stand a chance of placing in a top 3 in a stunt contest. But yeah, so I'm not as desperate as I thought. So, especially now that I've got the intermediate Death Star. That's a great plane. I can't wait to fly that.
It looks a nice, very practical plane.
Yeah, not much to look at. It's interesting looking, but it flies so sweet. Just goes where I point it better than just about anything I've ever flown.
That's nice.
The other day my back was really playing up, and I was using a swivel chair. I was flying out of that when it was really bad, and I just had the boys. I was sitting there pitting, and my wife was flying in combat with the two boys, and I was just sitting there pitting all the models. But I got one flight in off the chair. But yeah, sometimes my back just gives me hell.
Oh wow!
But where is it? Is it your lower, like lumbar? Is that where it hurts?
Yeah. It's paid up for many years now. It just flares up every now and again. I lift something heavy, or I twist, or I do something silly, and it bites. And
I'm fighting a crick in my neck today. I think I got a little overactive this weekend, and when I move my head around, it feels like there's sticks breaking inside of my neck.
Try to put a heating pad on it,
Yeah.
That's what I do every day. Works wonders.
It's like a nice hot shower. Sort of gets you moving again.
Heating pad on the lower back for a couple hours.
And Charles, how's your wife? She was a bit crook for a while there.
Yeah, she's still in a lot of pain. We have a procedure scheduled March 12th, endoscopy and a colonoscopy, and she's in a lot of pain.
She's at home though, isn't she? She's not home.
She's home.
I got mine on the 14th.
Really?
Same thing.
Both of them, the endoscopy and the colonoscopy, or just the colonoscopy?
Both of them the same day.
Oh wow. Okay, the 14th of March.
Yep.
I only do the colonoscopy now. I won't do. They did the other before and after they did that. I had like a hiatal hernia, and then it took like a year to go away after they did that.
Wow.
No more.
I told them to do the endoscopy before the colonoscopy, though.
Yeah.
None of it's pleasant, but
I'm due to go again for the colonoscopy. I got to make an appointment for that too. It's been 7 years.
Yeah, it's been 10 years for me on the colonoscopy, and oh, I got Barrett's esophageal. They got to go down and stretch that one valve in my stomach. It's starting to mess up again. It's all scar tissued, and they actually tear it is what they do. They go in there, take a balloon and blow it up, and
y'all are making me woozy.
How's our audience on you see them falling off?
Well, we're still talking about like basically Uniflow fuel pickup.
We're talking plumbing anyway.
Plumbing, yeah.
Yeah, plumbing. Indoor plumbing. No.
That's our limit for the geezer gripe session for the evening.
But thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. Yeah. So
sponsored by hospital corporations of the world.
Yeah, right.
I never thought about pressure though, because I've always force it down.
There's another little diesel that I got to break the subject. It's a bull race diesel. Yeah, it's another PAW. I was going to stick that one on a combat wing, but
that's nice though.
That's a ball bearing.
Yeah, it's a twin bull race one. So they start a lot easier when they've got twin bull races. They just less drag when you're warming them up. It makes a big difference to get them initially started. Once they're warm, they're generally easy to run a diesel, but on a cold day, and if your fingers are sore after a while, it can be hell, because you can't really, or you shouldn't electric start a diesel, a small one, because you can hydraulic block them easily and bend the rod. They don't always clear out quickly. You've got to be very careful.
I thought about putting a diesel on for half A at Brodak.
Yeah, you'd have to get the right diesel though. That would be the hard thing, trying to find an 049 diesel. That's a nice little grunty one. But yeah, you'd be able to swing a big prop. You'd have that advantage over the guy. The 1cc diesel. The PAWs do make a 1cc one, and I did have one on a little free flight model, and it was a really grunty little motor. I thought it would be similar to a baby B, but no, it was incredibly more powerful. It was more like an 09 than an 049.
Well, that's what I was thinking, that a 1cc diesel, and try that, because basically they're just running these things at full tilt anyway. So, I mean, that was, diesels don't really break and all that kind of stuff. Why they just power through, and it might be, I heard it was just so for getting the length of the run time is that you can overshoot easy on a diesel.
Yeah, you only got to adjust it slightly differently and have a very different runtime. Yeah, but I'm sure you get the consistency if you just practice getting the setting right. And if you can go very rich and under compress, or you can go very lean and compress it a bit more and use a very different amount of fuel. That's the funny thing with the diesel.
Yeah,
it's you gotta. It's a learning curve with them, because you have to mess around with the compression and the mixture screw at the same time. Tighten one up and turn the other one in, and then back off the other one and tighten the other one. I see guys trying to run them and get them going. And it's like, it's just like it was really frustrating. Of course, these were high performance diesels, like high end, like $500-$600, 15 engines.
He always says, my brother says, how are these diesels? He goes, they're really shit. He goes, but I love them.
Yeah.
But he runs them in his garage for the smell and all that.
Yeah.
Like everything will be a bit expensive. It didn't.
Hi, Otto.
Hey, bud, what's going on tonight?
Well,
Target.
I was doing target training. I found one of the shells which I tried. Came back.
Oh, you've got your ear rifle, yeah. Yeah, that's what you were asked to do before. A bit of target shooting. He came in to get his quota of ammunition off me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm going to sign off. It's nice chat.
Okay, Al. Yeah, I think we're all going to sign off too.
Yeah. Take it easy.
Okay. Have a good night.
Yeah, everybody, thanks for coming, and y'all all have a great week, and we'll see you back here Friday.
Like your shirt, Otto. That's pretty cool. You got the Stunthangar shirt.
Yep, the Stunthangar shirt. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Okay, man, y'all have a great week.
Friday.
See you later.
You, Steve. Good night.
Goodbye. And all you YouTube folks, good night. We appreciate it, y'all too. Good night.